Nepal deploys army and security forces to safeguard polling stations, ballot transport and counting centres. Nepal's Election Commission partners with TikTok to curb false, misleading and code of conduct violating content during elections. Nepal health insurance faces financial crisis. Prime Minister Karki calls for single stream system and stricter regulation. Nepal sees rising cancer cases amid lifestyle and environmental risks. Experts urge early detection, prevention and people-centered care. Russia and Ukraine delegations arrive in Abu Dhabi for talks amid renewed energy attacks. And host Nepal eliminated from the SAF Under-19 Women's Championship. Bangladesh through to the final. Good evening, I am Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in detail. In Nepal, security preparations are underway ahead of the upcoming House of Representatives elections scheduled for March 5. According to the Integrated Security Plan 2082, the government has deployed joint security forces under the coordination of Nepal Army, including Nepal Police, Armed Police Force and the National Investigation Department. Election police have also been mobilized with responsibility for inside polling station security, while the Armed Police Force oversees the second layer of security. Nepal Army will manage the outermost security perimeter covering all 165 electoral constituencies. In total, around 80,000 personnel are being deployed. Their duties include ballot printing and transport, polling station and ballot box security, and also safeguarding vote counting centres, as well as securing airports, prisons and other critical facilities in coordination with other forces. Officials say these measures aim to ensure a free, fair and safe election for voters across the country. Nepal is gearing up for the House of Representatives elections on March 5 with a comprehensive security plan in place. Under the Integrated Election Security Plan, the government has deployed over 303,000 personnel, including Nepali Army, Nepal Police, Armed Police Force, Election Police and National Investigation Department staff. Security measures covering polling stations, ballot transport and vote counting centres to ensure a free, fair and safe election. Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has said the government is fully committed to maintaining peace and security despite questions from political leaders about fairness. The Election Commission reports 10,967 polling locations and 23,112 polling centres for 18.9 million registered voters, including 9.66 million men and 9.24 million women. Nepal's Election Commission has signed an agreement with social media platform TikTok to curb the spread of misinformation during the upcoming House of Representatives elections on March 5. Authorities have raised concerns over false, misleading or inappropriate content circulating online, including potential violations of the Election Code of Conduct. Under the agreement, TikTok will assist the Election Commission by preventing the dissemination of such content, providing tools and support free of charge during the election period. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Ramprasad Bhandari said the move is part of a planned effort to prevent misuse of technology and maintain a transparent and credible electoral environment. He described the collaboration as a historic step to ensure that the digital space remains free from content that could disrupt election process. The government-run health insurance program is facing a financial crisis, prompting Prime Minister Sushila Karki to hold discussions with relevant authorities at the Prime Minister's office in Singhadarbar. The Prime Minister said the program should be operated through a single-stream system to prevent misuse and improve efficiency. She also stressed the need for strict regulation and stronger laws to address the challenges in the existing health insurance system. Health Minister Dr. Sudha Gautam warned that budget constraints have left the program at risk with some government hospitals potentially facing closure if funding is not released. According to the Health Insurance Board, over 10 billion Nepali rupees remain unpaid to registered healthcare institutions nationwide. We're going for a short break here. More news coming up. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to Primetime News. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paul has concluded a 4-day official visit to Japan and departed Tokyo for Kathmandu today. The visit marked the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Nepal and Japan, and President Paul attended a special ceremony in Tokyo at the invitation of the Japanese government. He led a high-level delegation and was seen off at Narita International Airport by the Nepal's ambassador to Japan, Hariharkant Podil, along with senior officials from the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. During the visit, President Podil held meetings with Emperor Naruhito, Japan's Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, and other senior officials, discussing ways to strengthen bilateral ties. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Nepal described the visit as a significant achievement, adding that it has added a new dimension to Nepal-Japan relations. Nepal is witnessing a steady rise in cancer cases driven by lifestyle changes, environmental risks, and late detection. Health experts stress that many cancers are curable if diagnosed early, yet high treatment costs, weak insurance coverage, and limited awareness continue to limit timely care. With stronger screening, prevention, and people-centered treatment, more cancer diagnoses could be turned into survival stories. Here's a report by Sabika Shrestha.
Unhealthy diet, lifestyle, tobacco and alcohol consumption are leading causes of cancer globally, but environmental pollution is alarmingly coming up as another fast-growing cause of late. Breaking it down to Nepal, lung cancer remains the most prevalent infection in Nepal, followed by breast, ovarian, gastrointestinal and oral cancers. Among women, cervical cancer ranks third, though doctors note a sharp rise in breast cancer cases in recent years, largely linked to lifestyle changes, delayed childbirth, stress, and reduced physical activity. Despite these trends, medical professionals stress that cancer is not always a death sentence. Stage 0 is 100% preventive, but patients only seek help after they reach third stage. Late diagnosis and limited access to regular screening continue to worsen outcomes, making cancer a major public health challenge in the country.
There used to be a time when they used to say that cancer has no answer. But with the time and advancement in the medical sciences, now cancer has multiple answers. And you can see like many patients in our setup, even in Nepal, we can treat so many patients and they are also curable. But the curable of the disease depends upon the stage. If the patient are diagnosed in the early stage, the disease is curable. But if they are diagnosed in a late stage, very advanced stage, in that case, it is not curable, but it is controllable.
Many cases of cancer, including cervical, breast, thyroid, testicular, and certain leukemias, are highly treatable and even curable when detected early. Doctors caution that 100% cancer treatment coverage is not realistically possible under the current health system, while weak insurance policies and low public awareness further limit access to timely care. Though the treatment cost in Nepal compared globally is affordable compared to other treatments within the country, it is still very expensive as well as extensive. As prevention, government has launched measures including HPV vaccination drive and community-level awareness programs and screening campaigns. Experts also highlight the role of prevention alongside treatment. When it comes to disease like cancer, early detection is very important as medical intervention at initial stage drastically improves survival rates.
We get the patient from all over Nepal and all kind of cancers, and we have developed our capabilities in diagnosing the cancers, and we are trying to incorporate the newer modalities of investigation and treatment into our hospital system. In the context of World Cancer Day today, we try to celebrate it as an opportunity to discuss about the cancer control strategies, policies, and the way to move forward and how to develop the present scenario in the cancer control.
Psychological resilience and emotional support are known to strengthen immunity, improve treatment response, and enhance quality of life for cancer patients, an often overlooked aspect of care in Nepal. As the world marks World Cancer Day 2026 under the theme United by Unique, Nepal's health community echoes the global call for people-centered, equitable, and effective cancer care. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Now, while remittances from Nepali migrant workers continue to bolster the country's economy, a growing human cost is emerging. At Tribhuvan International Airport, the bodies of 2 to 8 Nepali workers arrive daily, many of whom die abroad due to heart attacks, workplace accidents, suicide, or mental health pressures. On Wednesday alone, the bodies of 2 young men from Makwanpur and Sidahau returned from Malaysia and Qatar. Last fiscal year, 1,500 bodies arrived in Nepal, and in the first 6 months of this year, 785 have already returned. Experts call for stricter pre-departure health checks, mental health support, and assistance for workers abroad, while the Foreign Employment Board primarily provides financial aid to families of deceased workers. With over 600,000 young Nepalis leaving for foreign jobs in just the first half of this year, the economic benefits are clear, but so is the urgent need to reduce human losses and protect migrant workers. In Ramechhap's monthly, local authorities have announced a cash reward to control monkeys that have been damaging crops and frightening residents. The Chisapani Ward No. 8 office is offering 1,000 rupees per captured monkey. Captured monkeys will be marked. Captured monkeys will be marked with color and released, a strategy intended to scare away other monkeys. Ward Chair Gopal Shrestha said the initiative aims to relieve farmers from crop losses caused by monkeys and other wildlife, which have become a growing problem across the country. In Dhading, central Nepal, beekeeping is emerging as a lucrative livelihood with around 12,000 hives across the district. But farmers are now facing a growing crisis as chemical pesticides used in nearby farms are killing honeybees, threatening both honey production and natural pollination. Beekeepers report declining bee populations in recent years, while changing weather patterns and flowering seasons make survival even harder. Agricultural experts warn reducing and regulating pesticide use in key farming areas is essential to protect pollinators and safeguard the future of beekeeping in Nepal. International news coming up next. For now, a short break. Efforts to end the 4-year-long war between Russia and Ukraine are set to resume, with talks in Abu Dhabi scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday. Delegations from both countries have already arrived, with Ukraine's team led by Security Council Chief Rustam Umerov and Russia represented by military intelligence head Igor Kostikov, a sanctioned figure in the West. The war, which began in February 2022, is considered the deadliest conflict in Europe since the Second World War. Previous diplomatic attempts have yet to yield a lasting resolution. The talks face added pressure after Russia launched a major drone and missile strike on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, cutting electricity and heating in sub-zero temperatures and threatening to overshadow negotiations. Last month, the previous Abu Dhabi round included U.S. participation led by incumbent president, Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff. Russian President Vladimir Putin has praised Moscow's close ties with Beijing during a video call with Chinese President Xi Jinping, calling the partnership a stabilizing force amid global turbulence. Putin said cooperation between Russia and China in politics, economics and security remains critical at a time of heightened international tensions. Chinese state media echoed the sentiment, emphasizing strategic coordination between the two countries. The call comes as both nations face strained relations with Western governments, sanctions and growing geopolitical competition. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed a government spending bill officially ending a 4-day partial shutdown that disrupted federal services nationwide. The shutdown followed a funding standoff in Congress, delaying pay for thousands of federal workers. The newly signed bill restores funding and keeps the government operating through the next budget deadline. Trump praised the agreement as a win for fiscal responsibility, while critics argue it merely postpones deeper budget battles ahead. Ambulances carrying injured Palestinians have crossed from Gaza into Egypt through the Rafah border for a second day. Only 50 patients per day are allowed to pass, each accompanied by 2 relatives under a limited reopening agreement supported by the United Nations. Aid groups say the move is critical but insufficient, warning that Gaza's healthcare system remains near collapse after 2 years of war. A Philippine congressional committee has rejected impeachment complaints filed against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., dealing a major blow to efforts to unseat the leader over alleged financial misconduct. The committee voted 42 in favor of dismissing the complaint, with 1 vote against and 3 abstentions. Lawmakers ruled the petition insufficient in substance, effectively halting the impeachment process at the committee level. The complaint accused Marcos of swindling taxpayers out of billions of dollars, allegations his allies strongly deny. Now, more than 3,000 people have been evacuated in southern Spain as powerful storm brought what forecasters described as extraordinary rainfall across the Iberian Peninsula. Spain's weather agency placed parts of Andalusia under the highest red alert, warning that Storm Leonardo could trigger severe flooding and landslides. Officials said some areas of Sierra Grazalema could receive rainfall equivalent to a full year's average in just days. Authorities ordered evacuations from flood-prone zones as the ground remains saturated following weeks of heavy rain. Hundreds of soldiers were deployed to assist emergency services, and schools across most of Andalusia were closed. Sri Lanka celebrates its 78th Independence Day today at Independence Square under the theme Building Sri Lanka. The event featured a guard of honor by 3,557 members of the Tri-Forces, alongside 400 members from the police and Special Task Force, as well as participants from the National Cadet Corps and the Civil Security Force, all taking part in the parade. The celebrations honor the sacrifices made to secure independence from British rule in 1948, while emphasizing the country's goal of rebuilding and strengthening Sri Lanka into a politically stable and economically resilient nation. Police have deployed over 2,000 officers to ensure security and smooth traffic during the event. We're going for another break here. More news from the international front and sports news right after. NASA has delayed the launch of its first crewed lunar flyby mission in more than 5 decades, pushing the timeline to March. The agency says the decision follows the discovery of leaks during final pre-launch testing. Engineers are now working to address the issue to ensure astronauts' safety. The mission is a key step in NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon and eventually prepare for crewed missions to Mars. China's rare earths industry is back in focus as global demand intensifies for the critical minerals used in electric vehicles, wind turbines and advanced defense systems. Footage from Ganzhou in Jiangxi province highlights China's dominance in rare earth mining and processing, where it controls most of the world's supply chain. In response, the U.S. is ramping up diplomatic efforts to secure alternative sources. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to host the inaugural Critical Minerals Ministerial in Washington, bringing together allies to reduce dependence on China and strengthen supply chain security. The space company founded by Jeff Bezos is advancing proposals to support future digital infrastructure in orbit, including space-based data centers powered by solar energy. Blue Origin says the concept is designed to help meet rapidly growing global demand for computing power driven by artificial intelligence and data-intensive technologies. The company argues that operating data centers in space could reduce strain on Earth-based energy grids by relying on continuous solar power. New footage shows Blue Origin's rocket manufacturing facility on Florida's Space Coast near NASA's Kennedy Space Center, where the company is expanding its launch and satellite capabilities. Blue Origin is also promoting the TerraWave satellite communications network, which it says would enable high-speed data transmission around the world, highlighting how space-based systems could play a larger role in future digital infrastructure. With that, it is time now for Sports Update. Host Nepal has been eliminated from the SAF Under-19 Women's Championship currently underway in Pokhara, Western Nepal. In their final group stage match, Nepal suffered a 4-0 defeat against Bangladesh at the Pokhara International Football Stadium. The loss proved decisive. With this result, Nepal exits the tournament at the group stage. Bangladesh, playing as the visiting team, delivered a dominant performance and finished as group winners, securing a place in the final. Bangladesh will now face India in the championship match scheduled for Friday. Earlier, India confirmed their spot in the final after recording an 8-0 victory over Bhutan. Nepal concludes the group stage with 3 points from 2 matches, finishing third in the group. The SAF Under-19 Women's Championship is a regional tournament designed to promote and develop young women footballers across South Asia. The Olympic flame continues its symbolic journey across Italy ahead of the Milan Cortina Winter Games. The torch was seen sailing across Lake Como, one of the country's most iconic locations, just days before the opening ceremony at Milan's San Siro Stadium. Organizers say the rally relay celebrates Italy's culture, landscapes and Olympic spirit. With less than 3 days to go, excitement is building as athletes and fans prepare for the return of the Winter Olympics to Italian soil. Before we wrap up this bulletin, here's a look at the headlines this hour. Nepal deploys army and security forces to safeguard polling stations, ballot transport and counting centres. Election Commission partners with TikTok to curb false, misleading and code of conduct violating content during elections. Nepal health insurance faces financial crisis. Prime Minister Karki calls for single stream system and stricter regulation. Nepal sees rising cancer cases amid lifestyle and environmental risks. Experts urge early detection, prevention and people-centered care. Russia and Ukraine delegations arrive in Abu Dhabi for talks amid renewed energy attacks. And host Nepal eliminated from the SAF Under-19 Women's Championship, Bangladesh through to the final. And that is all for the moment here on NTV World Prime Time News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. To join us through our social media and also get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries.
Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
it's very amazing feeling because as Mr. Kiran Manandar is one of, I would love to say he is a global artist because he do have his studio. He used to have his studio in Paris and different places as well. And we are really lucky to have his studio here in Kathmandu Art House as well. And we have his studio upstairs where he come and create the things like create the paintings. And with his paintings, we feel very inspired and energetic. His painting is mostly spiritual and energetic too, as he take his painting as the part of his life and also a spiritual value to his painting.
It's my first time in Nepal. I've been seeing cultural sites around the city, and I'm extremely pleased that I came to visit this museum because this art is really amazing, and it's really beautiful to see sort of this modern expression of some of the historical cultural themes, and also like just some very human global themes as well. And I think the artist is just really incredible, and the art that I'm seeing here is really beautiful, and I'm very, very pleased, very happy.
So how did you feel to meet the real artist here?
It was really incredible. I feel so lucky that I came here today when the artist was here. It was beautiful to meet him. He's so friendly and warm. Yeah. Learning about the space was also really interesting. I hadn't known the history of this location. I think it's a great place for an art museum.
Oh, they feel very nice looking at the artworks because since we have here Kathmandu Art House, when people come in, and when they see the different category of the artists and all, and especially Mr. Kiran Manandar's work, they feel very like overwhelmed, not only the overwhelmed, but they feel very good about how Nepali art is like that, because they get, most of the time they get surprised, I must say that, because they haven't actually seen the artwork of Nepali artists in that deeper level. But since Mr. Kiran Manandar is famous all over the place. So yeah, he's also the pioneer of the abstract art here in Nepal. So he has actually, and he's also the first chancellor of NAFA, which has actually created like new, the step in the Nepali art field, in Nepali art society, and he has contributed a lot here. So while we talk with the guest as well, they get very inspired from his work with the colors, that the flow of colors, the brush strokes that he have, and also the spiritual value when we talk about the artist and also his painting to artists. They feel it's actually a true modern Nepali art where there is actually the touch of traditional spirituality and also a modern touch.
My primary interest for people coming to Nepal like me, if I had a color problem, I would have gone to a small or big trekking earlier, looking at those small streams, the originality of those colors. And I would look at these old broken palaces or houses, these bamboos. Now, like I learned a lot in Balajo, and this color is still dyed with kaya. This original color is not ours, right? Now for us, for example, when I went to work in a museum in Japan earlier, I would take red soil, black soil, because that is new now, that pote even now. Sometimes when I paint on canvas, I remember my grandmother because at that time, painting with red soil was our own energy and no insects would be attracted to it. Therefore, to use our own, we have to go to the village, house, place, everywhere. We have to take it anywhere. Even now, I tell you that after crossing Balaju Pass, the air and water there will be different. That scent of the forest will come, and therefore, we are not without it either. To develop this, such museums are needed. Artists who include everyone like this are needed. Now it is very good. I would say that even now, the time is such that foreign artists should come to Nepal to learn. There is a scent of art here now. We were scared by the lakhe. My maternal uncle sent us. My maternal uncle is from West Nuwakot. And so the lakhe had come. I asked why, and he said it was to roam around so high. And it looked red, and it was strong like you and me. And that's why, with that imagination, I had never met him. I used to play the instrument when I was a child, but in that imagination, scary and then walking. Our current Newari custom is that if some boys walk around a lot, they are said to be likely lucky. It came out of that imagination.
Kiran Manandar sir is a very fascinating person. I first met him in 2021. So in that time and till today, I kind of got a sense of his spiritual aspect a lot. Even though his artworks are abstract, you can identify each element. So in Kiran Manandar's paintings, even though it is an abstract art, each of us can identify ourselves. For example, in feminine beauty, we can identify a beautiful woman. In divine love, we can identify divine aspects of love. For example, Radha Krishna, Shiva Parvati, Vishnu and Lakshmi even. And in his spiritual series, for example, Shunya and Atma, we can identify the meditative aspect and the metaphysical aspect where we can achieve through divine interventions. And his artworks are mostly based on these spiritual factors also. And you can identify other materials. For example, he uses not only pen and ink, he uses materials like different clothes, which is written in Ranjana script. So there is Namo Tassa Bhagavato written in Ranjana script, and with that you can also see Kiran Manandar written in the same script. So that is basically his traditional route taking over in his abstract forms. And you can also identify the malas that you use in ritualistic activities, in pujas, and you can also see that aspects put together in the painting, and also the prayer flags of Buddha, the 5 Buddhas prayer flags. So all these materials are used by Kiran Manandar, and because of that we can say that he's a very spiritual person. And in his catalog, I have dissected and categorized these themes, thematical order in his painting. So I started with nature because he loves nature, and I remember him giving an example of a tree. So from afar we can only see a tree, but if you look closer and you can see the branches, the leaves, the fruits, the roots and everything. So his paintings are also layered like that, you know, the colors and bold strokes, like it's a palette knife that he uses, and that has a lot of strokes, lines, and even though it looks harsh when we look at it, but you can then deepen your thoughts and process, and you can see the color combinations and the beauty of the chaos that he creates in his paintings.
जति लोभ गर्यो त्यो चीजबाट सिर्जना कहिले पनि हुँदैन हामीले त्याग्नै पर्छ
Whatever we cobalt, creation never comes from that. We have to give it up. Therefore, I feel that we are born to live and give up, not to live forever. So, in this painting, there are these pieces of cloth attached to the paper. When I was strong, I used to go to Swayambhu. Then monkeys would throw down these flags. Initially, I made a lot of paintings using their flags because they were being thrown away. I brought them home, cleaned them, and gave them a complete form. Then where to keep them? I call the canvas my bank, so I keep it there. No one would take what was on the ground. But after putting it here, people covet it. They buy it. In this way, everything is to be given up. Even when painting and applying colors, it's the same. It's not meant to be kept forever, but to be given up. What is there to take? Therefore, the most important thing is whether you are painting or doing any other work. You should do it with a pure heart and then leave it behind. Nothing is to be taken away.
मुनाको चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ काम भनेको चाहिँ किरण दाई जस्तै चाहिँ आर्टिस्टहरुको चाहिँ
Muna's work involves organizing exhibition for artists like Kiran Dai to show their work to Nepalese and the rest of the world. Because there are artists like Nepalese in the world, we are no less than any other country, at least in the field of art.
Main reason why I open the Museum of Nepali Art, which is Mona in short form, is to platform living Nepali artists. That this is actually the first private museum in Nepal. And even after 1,000 years, but as long as there is humanity, as long as there is Nepal, as long as there is Nepal and art, we will be part of Kiran Dai. We need to ask questions. We need to ask questions to ourselves, not to anybody else. And that is the main purpose of art. And that is what I am trying to bring it out through my museum, through my passion, to the people, so that we can better understand ourselves, we can better appreciate our community, we can better appreciate our nation, and we can better appreciate the world that we live in.
Heaven above and angels below. This is the essence of Ruby Valley. Nestled in the northern part of Nepal's Dhading district, Ruby Valley is a hidden jewel surrounded on all sides by majestic mountain ranges. The landscape here is a feast for the eyes. White rhododendron blossoms paint the hillsides and sprawling rice fields shimmer under the sunlight. At about 300 kilometers from Kathmandu, the valley is a serene retreat rich in culture, tradition and natural beauty. Reaching Ruby Valley involves a remarkable trek that starts with a scenic journey from Kathmandu through Nuwakot and Rasuwa, winding towards the base of Ganesh Himal, the towering peak that watches over this land. The trek leads through dense pine and oak forests, terraced farmlands and vibrant local villages like Tipling, home to the Tamang community. These people live in harmony with nature, cultivating crops and raising livestock while keeping their rich traditions alive, welcoming visitors with warm hospitality and cultural performances. The striking Pangsang Pass at 3,800 meters marks a stunning milestone on the route, offering panoramic views of the green-clad hills and distant Himalayan ranges. Below, forests of tall sal trees stand as silent guardians. As travelers traverse this landscape, they witness local women harvesting crops, hear the heartfelt songs sung by villagers in the fields, and feel the essence of a life deeply connected to the land. The daily sight of Ganesh Himal inspires awe and a sense of peace that visitors carry with them. Ruby Valley lies in the heart of the Himalayas, surrounded by some of Nepal's most famous mountain ranges, Manaslu, Annapurna, Langtang and Ganesh Himal itself. This geographic embrace creates breathtaking scenery at every turn. Yak caravans and mule trains add a touch of timeless charm to the trekking experience, enhancing the rustic beauty of this remote land. The village of Chalis, nestled in the lap of Ganesh Himal, is a cultural crossroads for the Gurung community. Visitors witness their unique traditions, hear their folk songs by evening fires, and enjoy their vibrant dances, which invite travelers to connect on a deeper level. The journey continues beyond the villages to sacred sites like Tatopani Kunda, where natural hot springs offer spiritual purification and healing waters believed to renew body and soul. From there, hikers embark on a challenging yet rewarding trek to the holy Ganesh Kunda, a glacial pond named after Lord Ganesh. This pristine water body mirrors the majestic peaks around it, creating an ethereal panorama that captivates all those who visit. With peaks ascending over 7,400 meters, Ganesh Himal stands as a guardian of this sacred valley. Ruby Valley is more than a destination. It is an invitation to experience Nepal's untouched nature, vibrant cultures, and spiritual heritage all in one journey. For those seeking a unique adventure off the beaten path, Ruby Valley offers an unparalleled blend of breathtaking landscapes, warm hospitality, and rich traditions that make it one of Nepal's top destinations for international and domestic travelers.
Today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from the beautiful hills of Virginia. Tara Linhart, an award-winning musician who is known for blending Appalachian bluegrass with Nepali folk sounds. Tara has performed on some of the biggest stages in the US and has a deep connection with Nepal's music and art. And joining her is Prince Nepali, a talented sarangi player, music educator, and a generational musician continuing his family's rich musical legacy. Please welcome Tara Linhart and Prince Nepali. So when Appalachian bluegrass and Nepali folk music come together, what do you think it connects to the bigger world, and what is the core of this music?
Music is music, and notes are notes. And the Appalachian music and some of the Nepali music, it just has some of the same groove and same feel, and even very similar melodies,
right?
And also themes within the lyrics, and so they blend really well. And so I think it's hopefully it'll be more and more, but there should be a lot of cross fertilization of ideas between the two musics, because they sound great. I mean, we play a Nepali song and then a Appalachian song, and it sounds similar, same.
And so you're saying that American folk instruments and Nepali folk instruments are somehow parallel to each other.
They work really well together. And the Nepali sarangi, we recorded it, a friend of mine, Danny Nicely, and I, we recorded a bunch of sarangi music many years ago, probably a little after 2000 or something. And we brought just the sarangi music without the bansuri and the model, and we brought it back to America, and we played it for some of the Appalachian style, like the bluegrass in old time, we call it the paharakogit, from the Appalachians. We played it for the professional violin players, we call them fiddle players there. And we said, where do you think this person is from? What is this? And they said, well, it's definitely Appalachian fiddle playing. I almost know the song, but I don't know the song, so it must not be in my state. It must be in the next state over, because it's, I almost feel like I know it, but I don't. And then we said it's a sarangi and it's in Nepal, and they'd be like, you know, blew their minds because it's so similar.
So fiddle is from another, you're from Virginia, right?
Yes.
So fiddle is this instrument called fiddle from another state, or how does it work
A
there?
violin, so in English, it's very funny, the history of English, we have two words from many things. We have the fancy sounding formal word, which is from French, like violin, and then we'll have a more basic, the people, common person word, which is usually from German. So the violin and the fiddle are the exact same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
But one is from German, and so that's like what the country people, you know, they'll want to call it the fiddle, and they'll just play it, and they'll like to have people dancing, and they'll be like they'll play it like this, right? And then if you have really good posture and your eyebrows are up, and you play it, then you might play the violin.
Okay.
So it's basically like the country music, you know, basically whenever you're traveling, you see the folk and the local thing, you know. It's not like I mean, you don't have a proper posture to it, you know, and then it's basically how the lifestyle is more about, you know, how you play. The music is more about the lifestyle that you
and
find
for fun,
in people. And like, also for fun, mostly for the community music and everything. You know,
like
we gather up.
If you see, like I spend a lot of time in some of the Gandharva villages, and when there's no audience and they're just them, they're playing because they want to play and they enjoy the music, and their kids are dancing and their kids are learning to play, growing up from a young age. And it's the same thing in the Appalachian Mountains, which is interesting because a lot of the city people in the United States have no idea about Appalachian culture in the United States, which is quite funny. If you ask a lot of people throughout the United States, especially from urban areas, but any place that's not in that little Appalachian, middle Appalachian zone, if there is Roxy, if there's moonshine, and they'll say, no, there used to be, maybe 100 years ago, it's not, doesn't exist now.
I think
However,
people around the world have this misconception that Americans, even us, like our generation, they don't have culture per se. But like the sarangi, we have our own community-based musical instruments, like the sarangi, the tamangs have the tungna, the damfu.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
we have the madal. So can you tell me
our
what
traditional
are
instruments?
instruments?
So yes, we have the mandolin. And each of these, because the United States is such an immigrant place, a lot of them were brought over. So mandolins were brought over I think by the Italians initially, because the Italians were very well known for making them. I think the guitar came from the Spanish coming over. The banjo came from Africa and was modified in the United States. This was also, the Italian mandolins had a big round back on them. But then the Americans, Orville Gibson actually figured out you could make it just concave like a violin or fiddle. So you have the basic, also upright bass is very common. So you have bass, guitar, mandolin, banjo, fiddle, which is violin. But yeah, so that, and people will just play on their porch the exact same way that like a Gandharva community would just play on their porch. They finished doing the farming, they play music for fun. And now, of course, with the evolution of post-industrialization, people are specializing.
Prince, what about the sarangi?
Sarangi is actually mostly played by the people here, called Gandharva. So Gandharva mostly came from the west actually, western part of Nepal mostly, and now they're all over Nepal actually, and I think Tara is actually has done a lot more work on Gandharva as well. So she's been like taking some documentaries from back then, you know, and yeah, I think the Gandharva people. So the king, like every ethnic group, had their own jobs to do.
Right.
So Gandharva people were given the musical thing where they used sarangi and their vocal. So back in the days when there was no means of communications like televisions and radios, so Gandharva people, they used to go around the village, you know, give the message to the people. So basically by storytelling or singing the song, you know.
Bringing the news.
Bringing the news, actually, and going from village to village. Talking about me, I'm the 4th generation in my family to play this instrument. So everybody in my family is like, we come from a Gandharva family, and everybody in my family played like sarangi or madal or somebody singing, you know. That's amazing part of it actually.
So Prince, how did you start playing the sarangi?
Sarangi, yeah, was always at home, basically. So, so I used to see like my father, and he's been playing music all his life.
Grandfather as well.
So yes, so yeah, Mangar Kansa Nepali is my great grandfather, and Ramsaran Nepali is actually a very big singer. I mean, he traveled a lot.
Nepali is a pioneer sarangi player of Nepal.
Yeah, he was a singer and a sarangi player. He traveled along with sarangi in many parts of the world. So yeah, and he kind of like introduced like the metal string for sarangi, and sarangi itself as a lead instrument, you know. So back in the days, the instrument used to be only like accompanying the vocal, you know. They used to play, but just the melodies that they used to sing, you know. And nowadays it has been used as a leading instrument where you kind of like do solos and many things, you know. And they have like different styles of playing, like many musicians in Pokhara or some, they have like different style of playing. And also in the eastern part of Nepal, there are lots of people who have like a different style of playing. And yeah, when I was very young, like I used to see my father playing all the time with he had like lots of different bands, and then he used to play in this band called Trikal, Sukarma, you know, and also was like traveling along with the instrument in many parts of the world. So whenever they were practicing, there used to be a sarangi just by the side, and I used to just go and pick it up, just, you know, noodle with something. I was like, I started really young when, like, I mean, he didn't force me to play anytime, but I was like so inspired by just looking at him, you know, how that music could change like the whole ambience there. So
it was
also brought him to different countries and different places. And one story that I know that his father had told me was that he was playing a concert in France, and so he asked, you know, everyone's like, you'll have to see the Louvre, the big museum there. And he said, I wonder if there's any Nepali music in here, can we find out? And they went and they looked, and it was his grandfather. Had been recorded as a child, and he was in the Louvre Museum, which is pretty.
Yeah, I listened to that music, and it was so amazing. That's what I'm like. What Tara told before was like the connection of like the style of playing. You know, in like most of the part of the world, when you listen to fiddle and sarangi, it sounds so close. You know, you cannot like recognize it's from Nepal or like from the US. You know, it just gets connected to you. I mean, in different forms. So. Yeah, and I started like when I was 7, just playing, you know, a few songs and just imitating my father, you know, how he used to play.
And then it became your passion.
And yeah, it became part of my life.
And your brother also is a musician?
Yes, my brother, he's a singer actually. He does play like a Nepali rhythm, like Madhul Dhime, but he's a very good singer. It's called Prijal Nepali. So he's done many commercial songs at the moment, and yeah.
My friend that I made a documentary called the Mountain Music Project, going back and forth between Virginia and our Bahar Gogit and mostly the Gandharva as focus. But he became a very gifted professional musician, And his father says the way that I got him to play music was I'd leave all the instruments out in the room, and I'd leave the house, and I'd say, "Don't touch them," and they'd leave, knowing that if you tell a kid not to touch the instruments,
that's true.
And they watch their parents having
so
fun
nice.
with it all the time. You know, that's, some people think, I'm going to make my children play, and they'll give them some classical lessons or something, and they have to sit and they have to play for a certain amount of time. It makes the kids often get a bad taste in their mouth from it. But if you just demonstrate how fun it is, it's like a game you get to play, but you have to know how to play the game. Then all the kids want to play the game. They want to be involved.
Right.
And then also he got the extra thing where his dad was like, all right, don't touch that. And then as soon as his dad would leave, he'd look in and be like,
this is very amusing to me. Like, you all the way from Virginia, you as an undergraduate student, you were here in the 90s in Nepal.
Yes.
So how did that happen, and how did you meet his father?
Well, I have to say in the 90s, I did not get connected with the Gandharva community yet. I got connected with the Newari community. So I was here as a University of Wisconsin student, and I traveled with an environmental NGO called ECA around Nepal, which was very interesting. I studied tabla with Homnath Upadhyay, who I ended up meeting his son at a gig after we played together in America. And I also studied with Shambhuji Mishra. But I spent most of my studies in Bungamati studying wood carving. So I studied with Puniraj Tulador, which was quite an honor because he's a brilliant wood carver. And I lived with his family. And Shanta Tulador is now an amazingly good wood carver, and so is Purna Lakshmi, who's a female wood carver. And I believe one of the only full-time, like, really top-notch female wood carvers that I know of.
Bungamati is actually the capital of wood carving in Nepal, right? So you've not only experienced the music here, but also the other arts and architectures as well. So how were you interested in the
I mean, how could you not be interested in wood carving? Like, I came to Nepal, I didn't know much about it, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, it just blew me away, you know, seeing them working. And I was like, wow, can I learn that? And luckily, the University of Wisconsin at that time had a program here, which was very open-ended and pretty much let us study anything, as long as we wrote a 100-page paper at the end. And so I ended up writing my paper just about Bungamati and anything I could find about it, because I spent most of my time carving wood. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I have to write my paper. But,
it sounds amazing, though.
It's an amazing opportunity, and I still am connected with them. And they're like family now, because I've known them since they were little kids, and now they have kids. So their kids
so this early connection in your life with Nepal's art and culture is what inspired you to do music.
I actually decided to become a professional musician when I was at Kopan doing a meditation retreat, and I was not meditating very well. I was not having empty mind. Instead, I would sometimes giggle, and I was thinking about what I really wanted in my life, and I decided I wanted to be a musician. I was studying tabla at the time, and the more I got good at tabla, the more I wanted to play melody and rhythm again from strings, because I was a guitar player growing up. And then I decided I love to travel, and I love to be able to walk up the mountains and fly different places. So I realized a mandolin could do everything a guitar can do, but it's more travel size. And so I was sitting there pretending to be meditating on emptiness at Kopan, and I was actually thinking, yep, I'm going to buy a mandolin as soon as I get home. That's what I'm going to do. So my experience with a silent meditation retreat at Kopan for 2 weeks was I became a professional mandolin player.
Wow.
I don't think that's what they hope for everyone in meditation, but that was my result.
So moving to Prince, so you come from a very musical family, a family with a rich musical legacy. So how do you experiment and relate between something like this instrument right here, mandolin, and with someone lively as Tara? Like, how do you connect and balance between tradition and experimenting?
A very good question, actually. So for an artist like coming from a very folk, traditional playing background, you know, so actually my family has been very inspiring in that part where you basically kind of like experiment with so many things. And yeah, as I told, like my grandfather, he kind of like started with some back then, like sarangi strings, you know, used to be a gut string, like made from intestine, like sheep intestine strings, you know. And slowly, like we nowadays, I think we like really use those strings. And then in few places we do, but and then it turned into a nylon string. People do play nylon string as well at the moment. And so we moved to a metal string, which is very easier to travel with and very reliable on terms of like doing big concerts, you know. So as we have to like mostly travel, play with a different kind of music, you know, I kind of like I crafted my own style where I kind of like want to jam with some other musicians, and I probably like got very inspired from my father, because he used to travel around and play with so many other musicians, you know. So
all over
it
the
was
world, yeah.
all over the world. I mean, he was like, I got so inspired from him.
Yeah.
So, and he used to sometimes jam with the mandolin, sometimes with the violin, and sometimes with some percussion. I mean, I saw so many musicians in my life where he kind of like connected to me, and then like.
And I think his family, all the members of his family have pioneered some of the new technology, and now it's taking off about, you know, putting a pickup on an instrument, playing it with a standing up stand, playing with a strap, playing, and the same thing with our traditional music in Appalachian, bluegrass and old-time music. There will be the purists who will say, if you tune your sarangi different ways, or use, how far can you take it with pedals where it's no longer a traditional instrument, there's no right or wrong answer.
We find so many common things, you know, when you're hearing the fiddle tune, I find it's like, oh, I think I could play that in sarangi, you know.
Right.
That could be so wonderful to play, and some melodies are very connecting, like that. So like few melodies that I was learning from it, like. Doesn't, I mean, sound like Nepali song?
It sounds
so, yeah.
American folk music,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, we can do like this is an American song, so you kind of feel like it's a Nepali song as well.
Right.
You know, you have like very common thing that you can like hear, you know, from the sounds of like. So I probably find it like you have like so many wonderful melodies that you can hear like and connect together, you know.
You both are musical educators as well.
Yes,
so how are you trying to preserve these traditional musical instruments and folk music all together?
Well, I just love to teach. I love to inspire. So I will, often people will come to me and they may even say, I want to learn rock and roll, I want to learn, and I'll say, great, we'll get to that. But first, let's try some Irish tunes and some bluegrass tunes and maybe a Nepali tune. And so I introduce them to a buffet table, is what I think of it as, of like, you know, when you go to a buffet and it has different kinds of foods. And I say, why don't we play some gypsy jazz, and we'll play some bluegrass and some old time and some Irish and some Nepali. And then you can taste the flavors. And 90% of the time, they taste some of these traditional flavors and they love it.
Yes.
And they want to play more. And I don't know about you, how would you go approach?
So I think first of all by playing, mostly inspiring people. So that's how I go first. Like first of all, I think I have to be like inspired just to play this instrument first of all, and then I can inspire other people as well.
It's not always the easiest way to make a living, music, but it's very fun.
I feel like everyone should
try it.
Try it.
Yeah.
Like just one musical instrument or go for singing.
I think, of course, I mean, if you're in Nepal and then also like any part of the world actually, you have like, I'm talking about Nepal, but you have like so many different instruments in Nepal that you can learn, and you can just like sarangi is one of them, and you have tungna, you have arbajo, you have madal, you have basuri, so many different instruments. And I think one of them should just give it a try, or just, you know, just as a hobby. I mean, it is like fantastic when you're playing music and trying to like play with other people as well, you know.
What would you like to tell the world about folk instruments and folk music? Do you want to share something to the world, and do you have a message to them?
Yeah. Play music
Play
and
music.
follow us.
Yeah,
buy our
follow us.
CDs and
Yes,
listen
of
to us
course.
on Spotify, of course, and you know, all of those things.
You have to say something?
iTunes, whatever.
Yeah, actually, just same as Tara. You just listen. I mean, have fun. Just pick up an instrument, play. You know, just get one instrument, and then I think more of it is like we're trying to do some like part of having fun is one thing, but we also kind of like inspire people like just to pick up an instrument. You know, just to have fun with it actually. So yeah,
and even just follow your passions, even if it's not music. Perhaps your passion is drawing, painting,
yes,
wood carving,
I mean,
any kind of pottery. But
just things that make
create something. Do something that brings you joy.
Joy, yeah, that's true.
Do something that brings you inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay, that is all for today, folks. Thank you for sharing your story and your sound with us, Prince and Tara. So it's amazing to see how music can connect worlds, from the Appalachian trails to the Himalayan hills. So thank you. See you next time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
The number of devotees collectively chanting, admiring and understanding these holy chants has reached 2 billion all across the world now. This implies that the population following Buddhism is increasing by the day. Buddhism rests upon the principle that one must be empathetic, kind, and exonerate towards all living beings. Love, brotherhood, and mutual harmony is the only way towards peace at present, when the whole world is entangled within warfare, fighting, and conflicts. Anyone seeking for peace can find it within themselves on internalizing the words and messages of Gautama Buddha. Gautama Buddha, also known as the Light of Asia, established himself as the preacher of Buddhism and enlightened the whole world with his message of peace, awareness, kindness, and wisdom. Buddha sacrificed his whole life urging for the need of truth, justice, and altruistic feeling within mankind. Gautama Buddha was born in Lumbini. It lies in the western part of Nepal in Rupandehi districts of the Lumbini zone. Lumbini has been protected under the World Cultural Heritage Site since 1997 AD. In the year 1896, the then senior officer of Palpa, Kharga Shamsher, and German expert Dr. A. Fuharer jointly carried out the work of archaeological excavation and investigation of Lumbini. After some period, archaeologists located the commemorative Ashok pillar erected by King Ashok of India during ancient period. With such facts coming in front, Lumbini caught attention of the people all around the world. Among the most significant heritages of Lumbini are Ashok Pillar and Mayadevi Temple. It is believed that Mayadevi gave birth to Siddhartha Gautam in 623 BC at the very spot where the temple is located at present. The then Mayadevi temple, however, remains only in the pictures and in imaginations. Renovation and repair works have already changed the original structure of the temple. Nevertheless, with the new structure, this temple has embraced a divine outlook in it. Not only the temple, but the whole Lumbini region is in the process of planned reconstruction and development. The visit of the then General Secretary of the United Nations Organization, U Thant, in the year 1967 brought together the notion of Lumbini Area Development Project. Under a master plan of the Japanese archaeologist Professor Kenzo Tange, the project was initiated in the year 1978. Lumbini Area Development Project Master Plan spreads in the area of 3 miles. Major attraction of this project is the Mayadevi Temple. near to Mayadevi temple is believed to have been erected by King Ashoka in 249 BC during the 21st year of his enthronement. The Utkirna stone inscription engraved in this pillar in Brahmi script is a historical proof that Lord Gautama Buddha was born here. This is the most reliable historical and archaeological archive to learn about the birthplace of Lord Buddha as well as to explore Lumbini itself. A 5-stanza writing of 90 words written in Brahmi script, the first script that Buddha learned, is engraved in this pillar. Archaeologist Dr. A. Fuhara verified the writing. In the northern side of the Holy Garden, towards the center, lies the eternal peace flame, the peace bell, and a 3-kilometer long and 16-meter wide canal. One can also view the World Peace Pagoda from here. The canal divides the whole area into 2 sections. Towards the eastern monasteries, 13 plots are designated to Thur Buddhist and 29 plots are allocated to Mahayani Buddhist in the western monasteries. In eastern region, various countries and Thur Buddhist organizations have constructed a number of monasteries following their native architectural texture. Myanmar, Sri Lankan, Indian, Cambodian and Thai government, including Nepalese, have constructed stupas and guest houses in these areas following the agreement with Lumbini Development Trust. Similarly, most of the western plots have been occupied with similar stupas, monasteries, guest houses and meditation centers constructed by various organizations or Government of Nepal, China, Vietnam, France, Japan, Austria, Bhutan and Mongolia, among other nations. In these monasteries, Buddhists perform their regular worship, enchantments and meditations according to their own customs. In the northern side of the new Lumbini village area is the 41.5 meter long and 49 meter cylindrical World Peace Pagoda. Fujiguru of Japan is said to have constructed similar pagodas in different locations all over the world during his journey of finding peace. World Peace Pagoda was designed by Japanese architect Dr. Minoru Ohuka. This pagoda came into operation since 1995. Built in traditional Japanese design, the upper part of this pagoda holds metallic artifacts exhibiting the birth of Lord Buddha. Lumbini Museum and Lumbini International Research Center are other important places to visit once one reaches Lumbini. These buildings, constructed in pagoda style, portray an architectural masterpiece in themselves. Inside Lumbini Museum, the archaeological remains found during the excavation of Lumbini area are preserved inside a large hall. One can easily gather information about the birthplace of Lord Buddha and the then contemporary society and culture exploring these heritages. Within the building, designed by Professor Kenzi Tange himself, Lumbini International Research Center has been established. More than 3,500 research materials and texts on Buddha, Buddhism, history, philosophy, knowledge, and teachings of Buddha can be found here. For the visitors' comfort, the center has provided the facility to read texts on different languages, including Sanskrit, Chinese, Japanese, Turkmen, Burmese, Thai, Nepali, and Nepal languages. This palace is located around 27 kilometers far from Lumbini. Lord Buddha, as the prince, spent 29 years of his life in this palace. Prince Siddhartha Gautama abandoned the royal livelihood in search of Mahanirvana, or enlightenment. In the year 1898 AD, Indian archaeologist P.C. Mukherjee, following the description of Chinese traveller Hu Yansanga, and unveiled the unknown facts about Tilaurakot after his 4 months-long research and excavation works. He mentioned that the Tilaurakot Palace stretched in the area of 1,700 feet north-south and 1,300 feet east-west direction, was surrounded by walls up to 8 to 12 feet. The main entrance gate had Buddha stupas and monasteries in both the sides. All these buildings are under excavation and protection at present. Mukherjee has also maintained that King Suddhodana ruled his kingdom from the same palace. Hence, no doubt remains on the fact that the present Tilaurakot was ancient Kapilvastu. Archaeological debris as well as ancient palace and east-west entrance constructed since 4th century BC to 2nd century BC can be observed vividly now as well. Another historical site of Lumbini is Kudan, also known as Lauri Kudan, around 28 kilometers southwest of Lumbini. Myths have it that Lord Gautama Buddha met his father King Suddhodana at this very spot for the first time on returning to his hometown Kapilvastu after attaining enlightenment. Others say Prajapati Gautami, Gautam Buddha's foster mother, handed him Kayas Vastra at this place. Some others also claim that at this very site, Gautama Buddha's son Rahul transformed into Buddhism and turned a saint. Inscription held the existence of 4 walls and 1 buried well at this place. However, only 3 walls can be seen at present. According to Dewala Mitra, on the southern side of this lies one rectangular wall, and another wall has a snake temple on the top of it. In the largest wall, located at northeast direction, idol of Lord Shiva and the remains of other idols can be seen at the top. "500 meters north of King Suddhodana's palace lay 2 stupas. Experts say these stupas are the graves of King Suddhodana and his queen Maya Devi. The largest stupa has the area of 52 feet and is 75 feet high, whereas the smaller one has the area of 26 feet. The largest stupa is said to be constructed in the 4th century BC and was reconstructed 3 times during the 2nd and the 1st century BC. Similarly, the smaller stupa is believed to have been constructed in between the 2nd and the 1st century BC. Devadaha, that lies in Bhawanipur of Rupandehi, is said to be the maternal home of Siddhartha Gautama. Inscriptions say that Siddhartha Gautam spent 7 years of his childhood in Devadaha. Also, it is believed that he, upon attaining enlightenment, paid a visit to Devadaha. Devadaha is also popularly regarded as the maternal home of Queen Maya Devi, Queen Prajapati, and Princess Yasodhara. 10 idols are established in a single row in the eastern wall. However, the structure of all other idols besides one of the sun god in the center is unclear. This place, serving as an open museum, still needs a rigorous research and study to explore more about Kolia Kingdom. Ramgram Monastery has been constructed in the sidelines of Jharahi River towards 4 kilometers southeast of Parasi of Nawalparasi district. 7 meters in height, this monastery was constructed, establishing one metallic remains of Lord Buddha in its base. This monastery is one among the 8 monasteries constructed worldwide with the metallic remains in their base. This monastery was constructed upon the order of the king of Ramgram. He was the 8th king to receive the remains of Lord Buddha. Buddhist religious texts say that King Ashoka was in his mission of collecting remains of Lord Buddha from all 8 monasteries to construct the 84,000 stupas. But he was not allowed to extort the remains of Lord Buddha from Ramgram Monastery. Around 9 kilometers north from Tilaurakot lies a pond named Sagarwa or Lambu Sagar. The pond has high significance with regard to its archaeological value. This pond is popularly recognized as the spot where Koshal rural king Naresh Birudhak killed the thousands of Shakyas at the same time during the 5th century BC. Inscriptions have it that this pond extends 1,059 feet towards the length and 225 feet towards the breadth, and was discovered in 1895 AD. However, only few remains, and a mark of the pond can be traced here at present. Gotihawa is renowned as the birthplace of Manushi Krakuchandra Buddha. It is also said that Krakuchandra Buddha met his father at the very place after attaining nirvana. Debris of Ashoka pillar, ancient well, bricks and other remains can be retrieved in the buried form from here. Major Wada and P.C. Mukherjee excavated Gotihawa in 1895 AD and mentioned that Krakuchandra Buddha was born here. Araurakot is an ancient town situated 8 kilometers northeast of Taulihawa. Araurakot is regarded as the location of Kanak Muni Buddha, but scientific research is necessary to trace further facts of this town. Meanwhile, manuscripts have it that Niglihawa, 7 kilometers far in the northern side of Taulihawa, is the birthplace of Kanak Muni Buddha. It is the same place where he got enlightenment. They also say that archaeologist Dr. Fuhara discovered inscriptions in ancient stupas at this very place. In the western side of Nigli Sagar, one of the Ashoka pillars can be seen in 2 pieces. In an inscription written in Brahmi script, Pali language, it is mentioned that King Ashoka erected this pillar when he reached Kapilvastu. When he reached Kapilvastu Lumbini during the 3rd century BC. King Ashoka was said to be in pilgrimage. These pillars, 15 feet long, have engraved figure of peacock in one of the pillar, and another has Om Mani Padme Hum carved in it. This holy land of Buddha has a large number of places and objects of historical and archaeological importance. Many are still under the grave of Mother Earth, left to be extracted and excavated. After watching this documentary about Holy Land of Lord Buddha, you need not reach far to realize peace. Reaching this sacred birthplace of Lord Buddha will be enough to experience eternal peace. This holy land is the source of world peace. Lumbini is the center of serenity and harmony among all the people in the world. World Cultural Heritage Site and Shakya sage Gautama Buddha's birthplace is a precious gift for the whole world.
Only after 6 decades of the institutional development of the now popular game of cricket did Nepal get the opportunity to play in the World Cup. Although cricket was introduced in Nepal during the Rana regime, the sport was confined to a limited number of people, namely the elite. It all started with equipment brought by students returning from their studies in Britain and India. Although Cricket Association of Nepal (CAN) was established in 1947, cricket remained centered among a few affluent individuals and in limited tournaments for a long time. Starting with the Vishnu Trophy in 1948, tournaments were limited to competitions like the Madan Memorial Sealed, Jugal Kishore Trophy, Rammani Trophy, and later the Jai Trophy. Even as the sport expanded outside Kathmandu Valley, it took decades for cricket to develop at the grassroots level. After the International Cricket Council (ICC) granted Nepal affiliate membership in 1988, Nepali cricket embarked on its international journey. The rule of mandatory participation in tournaments by the ICC and the Asian Cricket Council (ACC) opened doors to international competition for Nepal. After participating in the Under-19 Asian tournament in Hong Kong in 1996, Nepal has not looked back. Winning titles at the Asian and global levels, Nepali cricket team continues its journey towards the pinnacle of world cricket.
Goes down the ground because he was given that line outside off stump. So the first boundary of the contest, a handsome one.
Initially confined to Turikhel in Kathmandu, many international tournaments were hosted in Nepal after an international standard ground was built in Kirtipur. Nepal has also shown its proactiveness in differently abled cricket tournaments like the T20 World Cup for the blind in 2012 and the Asian Cricket Tournament for the deaf. Nepali women's national cricket team has also achieved remarkable success in a short period of time. The latest addition in Nepali cricket is the floodlit Tribhuvan University Cricket Stadium and the Nepal Premier League that has provided opportunity for Nepali players to rub shoulders with world-class players.
Dozens of protesters gathered outside the Philippine House of Representatives as lawmakers reviewed impeachment complaints against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. On Wednesday, a congressional committee overwhelmingly rejected the complaints, citing a lack of sufficient evidence. The accusations included alleged misuse of public funds through infrastructure projects and claims surrounding the arrest and transfer of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the International Criminal Court. Lawmakers said the complaints failed to show that President Marcos directly ordered or participated in any corrupt acts. Committee leaders stressed that policy disagreements and alleged mismanagement do not meet the constitutional standard for impeachment. The dismissal effectively halts the impeachment effort against the president. Thousands of people marched through Venezuela's capital, Caracas, calling for the release of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, 1 month after they were detained by U.S. forces during a nighttime operation. The government-backed demonstration stretched several hundred meters through the city and included large numbers of public sector workers. Protesters carried signs demanding the couple's return and denouncing U.S. involvement. Maduro's son, Nicolas Maduro Guerra, a member of the National Assembly, addressed the crowd, condemning the operation and calling it a violation of Venezuela's sovereignty. State media described the march as part of a global day of action, with solidarity demonstrations reported in other countries. Organizers said participants from different political backgrounds opposed the detention, calling it a breach of international law. The protests come as acting President Rodriguez seeks to balance pressure from Maduro supporters with demands from Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is open to working with Rodriguez provided Venezuela meets U.S. conditions, including granting access to its oil sector. Rodriguez has already released hundreds of political prisoners and opened the country's hydrocarbons industry to private investment. Separately, students and families of detainees marched earlier in the day, urging Parliament to pass a promised amnesty law, which has not yet been debated. U.S. President Donald Trump urged Americans to move past the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, stating that the latest release of millions of documents showed nothing incriminating about him and that the issue had become a distraction from more pressing national concerns. Trump told reporters at the White House while signing a spending bill to end a partial government shutdown that claims about his involvement were part of a conspiracy and that the country should focus on other priorities such as healthcare. He also highlighted a drop in crime in Minnesota, attributing it to enhanced federal immigration enforcement efforts, and confirmed ongoing negotiations with Iran on foreign policy issues. U.S. federal authorities will deploy body cameras to immigration offices in Minneapolis following the fatal shooting of 2 protesters by immigration agents, the Department of Homeland Security announced Monday. The decision comes amid a partial government shutdown as Democrats demand reforms to immigration enforcement before approving new funding. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said body cameras are being issued immediately in Minneapolis, with plans to expand the program nationwide as funding allows. Meanwhile, concern is growing among Native American communities in the city as immigration raids continue. Some Native Americans say they now carry tribal identification for protection, fearing they could be mistakenly targeted by federal agents. The shootings and ongoing raids have intensified debate over immigration tactics under President Donald Trump's enforcement crackdown. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency says 9 people, including 3 children, were killed in Israeli airstrikes on Wednesday across the territory. At least 31 others were wounded. The Israeli military said it carried out precision strikes after gunfire targeted its troops, seriously wounding an officer. Israel said the incident violated the ceasefire. The strikes hit areas in southern Khan Yunis and Gaza City, according to Gaza Emergency Services. The violence comes despite a U.S. brokered ceasefire now in its 6th second phase, which has been repeatedly breached by both sides. Israel and Hamas have accused each other of violations. Gaza's health ministry says more than 500 people have been killed in Israeli strikes since the truce took effect, while Israel says 4 of its soldiers have been killed during the same period. The escalation follows Israel's reopening of the Rafah crossing with Egypt earlier this week. Meanwhile, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem, where Netanyahu reiterated that Hamas must be disarmed and Gaza demilitarized before reconstruction can begin. Spain plans to ban social media use for children under the age of 16 in one of Europe's toughest proposed crackdowns on digital platforms. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced the plan at the World Government Summit in Dubai, citing growing risks such as addiction, abuse, and exposure to harmful content. The government will introduce new legislation next week, tightening platform regulations and potentially holding senior executives liable for failing to remove illegal material. Spain also plans to deploy tools to monitor hate speech and algorithm-driven content, urging tech companies to take greater social responsibility. Thailand is entering the final stretch before Sunday's general election, with campaign posters lining Bangkok's streets and skyline. Parties are making last-minute appeals to voters amid concerns over economic recovery, military influence, and democratic reform. The vote is seen as a key test of Thailand's political future, following years of instability and protests. Asia's premier air show has opened in Singapore, bringing together global aviation and defense giants. This year's event comes as the industry faces supply chain disruptions and rising geopolitical tensions. Military aircraft and commercial jets are on display, highlighting both technological innovation and growing security concerns in the region. The show reflects intensifying competition among global powers. Curling stones used at the Winter Olympics are being made in southwest Scotland from rare granite found only on Ailsa Craig, a small volcanic island off the country's west coast. The stones are produced by Case Curling, a company that has supplied Olympic curling stones for nearly a century and holds exclusive rights to harvest the granite. Experts say the rock's durability and resistance to moisture make it ideal for the sport, where precision on ice is critical. Each stone weighs about 40 pounds and takes several hours to produce. Demand for the stones is rising worldwide, with exports to dozens of countries. The unique Scottish granite will again feature prominently as athletes compete on the Olympic curling ice. Artists in the Afghan city of Herat are welcoming UNESCO's recognition of the miniature art style pioneered by 15th century painter Kamal Uddin Behzad, calling it a rare source of hope amid ongoing restrictions. In December, UNESCO added Behzad's miniature painting tradition to its list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, praising its cultural and artistic significance. Behzad, a contemporary of Renaissance masters, helped establish Herat as a major center of art during the Timurid era. Many Afghan artists say the recognition is meaningful as cultural life has declined since the Taliban returned to power in 2021, imposing bans on music and depictions of living beings. Galleries have closed and exhibitions have largely disappeared. Despite the challenges, Behzad's legacy continues to inspire Afghan artists, including women who participate in miniature painting in private and sell their work through limited channels. Worshippers at a Buddhist temple in Tokushima City, Tokushima Prefecture in Shikoku, Western Japan, followed ascetic monks in a traditional fire-walking ritual to pray for good health on Setsubun. Setsubun is the last day of winter on the traditional Japanese calendar. It fell on Tuesday this year. Dainichi-ji Temple, the 13th of the 88 temples on the famed pilgrimage route in Shikoku, hosts the event every year on Setsubun and on July 18 at its inner temple of Gonjiji. On Tuesday,
monks dressed as itinerants set fire to an altar about 2 meters high made of pine wood and cypress leaves as about 80 worshippers looked on. The worshippers threw small wooden sticks inscribed with wishes for good health and safety into the burning altar. As the flames died down, the monks spread the embers into a bed about 3 meters in length and walked barefoot over the hot ash. The worshippers then followed. A woman from the city said she was overwhelmed by the flames. She said she walked over the embers while praying for her acquaintance's recovery from illness. Another woman from a different part of the prefecture said she is a regular participant in the ritual. She said the embers were not so hot and that she prayed for her good health.
Hello and welcome to The Perspective on NTV World. I'm Sabika Shrestha, your host for the weekly current affairs program. Here we pick the major news of the week, unpack its significance and examine how today's decisions shape tomorrow's direction. This week's major issues centered on governance, elections, economy, youth migration and national institutions. Coverage included the EPS process and growing frustration among Nepali youths seeking employment in South Korea, election-related developments such as the Code of Conduct, campaigns do's and don'ts, election financial transactions, security concerns in Japa amid heavyweight candidacies, and cases of election code violations and actions taken against offenders. Appointment of 9 women election commissioners across 10 constituencies in Kathmandu was one of the major highlights of the week. Medical professionals increased migration abroad as a major setback to the nation's human resource pool. Thousands of Nepalis who cleared all mandatory exams to work in South Korea under the Employment Permit System EPS have taken to protests once again. This time they are demanding expedited intake as their job roster from 2023 nears expiry. With limited quotas and rising uncertainty, the issue has now reached diplomatic levels. A report. Thousands of Nepali job seekers aspiring to work in South Korea under the Employment Permit System EPS have once again taken to the streets. The reason is simple. These protesters are the batch of 2023 still awaiting selection with the likelihood of their roster expiring soon. With the 2-year validity of the EPS roster nearing expiration, frustration and uncertainty have spilled onto the streets of Kathmandu and Lalitpur. More than 1,03,000 applicants from the 2023 EPS roster are still waiting for placement despite having cleared the Korean language test, skill assessment, medical examination and police verification. In contrast, South Korea recruits only around 5,300 Nepali workers at a time under the quota system, leaving a large majority stranded and fearful of losing their opportunity altogether.
सबै पीडित साथीहरूको रोस्टर अवधि सकिएकोले गर्दा पहिलो प्राथमिकता भनेको रोस्टर थप गरियोस् पीडितको र जति पनि हामी पीडित छौं यी पीडित विद्यार्थीहरूलाई चाहिँ पहिलो प्राथमिकतामा राखेर कोरिया पठाइयोस् र हाम्रो जति पनि रोजगारदाता समक्ष फाइलहरू पुर्याउन बन्द गरिएको छ यो फाइल
Nepal remains one of the largest contributors to South Korea's migrant workforce under EPS, accounting for around 17% of total workers sent. Since the system was introduced 18 years ago, nearly 1,21,000 Nepali workers have gone to South Korea, primarily under the E9 unskilled visa, working in manufacturing, agriculture, shipbuilding and related sectors. Monthly earnings typically start at around $2,000 depending on industry and overtime. Explaining the selection process, Director of the EPS Korea Section Nepal, Tikaram Thakal, clarified that Nepal has no role in final recruitment decisions.
After passing the language examination and after passing all the steps, we send them their job application to Korea via online system. Their file is sent to South Korea. Then we cannot do, Nepali side cannot do any more for their assurance in Korea, going Korea for their employment. This depends upon Korean company side, Korean side's company.
As pressure mounted, the government of Nepal acknowledged the concerns and initiated diplomatic and administrative measures. The Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security formed an investigation committee last month to explore solutions including extending the roster validity and resending applicant profiles. A high-level Nepali delegation is also scheduled to visit South Korea next month to hold talks on increasing the current quota. As the deadline for the 2023 roster approaches, the EPS Korea issue has emerged as one of Nepal's most pressing migrant labor challenges, placing growing pressure on both the Nepali and South Korean governments. As Nepal gears up for the March 5 House of Representatives elections, the spotlight is firmly on the election code of conduct that governs not just rallies and ballot boxes, but screens and social feeds as well. From political parties to voters and from security agencies to the media, ethical boundaries are being closely monitored in an increasingly digital campaign landscape. Smitugi Singh Tamang explains more.
As Nepal prepares for its House of Representatives March 5 elections, the focus now shifts to Code of Conduct and its adherence. The Election Commission has already enforced the Election Code of Conduct for all sides' consent. The code outlines ethical responsibilities for all stakeholders at a time when political campaigning is at its peak, physically as well as digitally. With more youths in the election fray as well as voters' role, digital spaces are, for the first time, being scrutinized with high-tech mechanisms. At the core of the electoral process is the Election Commission itself. Officials are required to ensure impartial administration, transparency, and timely communication, including in the digital space. The do's are act impartially, ensure transparency, provide timely digital updates, handle complaints fairly, and counter misinformation. Whereas don'ts are favor any party or candidate, delay official clarification, ignore digital violations, suppress information, and act without accountability. Political parties are required to campaign responsibly, disclose expenses, and strictly observe silence period restrictions both offline and online. The do's are follow EC campaign schedules, disclose campaign spending, use verified digital platforms, promote issue-based agenda, respect green election guidelines. And the don'ts are use state resources, spread hate or misinformation, run undisclosed digital ads, campaign during silence period, exploit religion or identity, and use fake accounts. Candidates are bound by spending limits, truthfulness, and ethical conduct, especially in online campaigning. The do's are spend within allocated ceiling, present accurate credentials, campaign respectfully, use eco-friendly outreach, and comply with digital rules. Whereas the don'ts are buy votes physically or digitally, defame opponents, mislead voters online, use deepfake content, and influence voters near polling stations. Civil employment are required to maintain political neutrality at all times, including on social media. The do's are remain politically neutral, perform routine duties only, follow Election Commission directives, maintain institutional integrity, and avoid public endorsements. Whereas the don'ts are attend campaign events, use official platforms politically, influence voters, misuse public resources, and engage in online campaigning. Security agencies are tasked with ensuring a safe and neutral election environment. The do's are maintain neutrality, protect polling stations, ensure voter safety, act proportionately, and coordinate with the Election Commission. And the don'ts are support political groups, intimidate voters, interfere in voting, use excessive force, and ignore Election Commission deployment plans. Media institutions play a crucial role in shaping public opinion and must adhere to strict professional standards. The do's are provide balanced coverage, verify information, label paid political content, follow silence period rules, promote voter awareness, and be fair. The don'ts are broadcast opinion as news, air unverified content, promote any candidate, publish exit polls early, amplify hate speech. Individual journalists are expected to uphold neutrality and credibility, including on personal digital platforms. The do's are maintain professional neutrality, fact-check before posting, disclose conflicts of interest, follow ethical journalism norms, and educate audiences responsibly. And the don'ts are act as campaigners, accept gifts or benefits, share unverified political content, express partisan views on duty, and blur lines between news and opinions. Voters, too, carry ethical responsibility, especially in the digital age. The do's are verify information before sharing, vote freely and responsibly, respect differing opinions, report violations, and follow polling day rules. And the don'ts are accept inducements, spread misinformation, campaign during silence period, intimidate other voters, share false results online. As Nepal moves towards election day, the Election Commission has reiterated that ethical conduct, digital discipline, and collective responsibility are essential to safeguarding democratic integrity.
Meanwhile, the election race in Jhapa's Constituency 5 has taken on wider political significance, prompting authorities to step up security measures as the area has been classified as sensitive ahead of the vote. The constituency has drawn a lot of attention, with former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli pitted against RSP senior leader Bhalendra Shah. Here's a report.
The electoral contest in constituency number 5 of Nepal's Jhapa district has moved beyond a race between individual candidates, reflecting a broader contest of political ideologies and influence. As a result, security considerations have gained importance, with the constituency identified by authorities as sensitive ahead of the vote. Addressing these concerns, Chief District Officer Shivaram Gilal said that 24 candidates have filed nominations and that arrangements are in place to conduct the election peacefully.
आसन निर्वाचनलाई स्वच्छ निष्पक्ष भयरहित वातावरणमा चाहिँ सम्पन्न गर्नु हामी सबैको दायित्व पनि हो र त्यो आचार संहिता पालना गर्न हाम्रो कर्तव्य पनि भएको हुनाले त्यो अनुसार सबै लाग्नु हुनेछ भन्ने विश्वास पनि मैले लिएको छु.
Similarly, Jhapa District Election Officer Tulsi Kumar Nepal said that holding a successful election is a shared responsibility and expressed confidence that voting in the district will remain peaceful.
पक्का पनि अब आचार संहिता उल्लङ्घन भयो भने त निर्वाचन कसुर तथा सजाय ऐनले त दण्ड जरिवाना गर्छ नै, तर त्यस्तो अवस्था हाम्रो जिल्लामा आउँदैन, नआओस् र आउँदैन पनि.
To support a fair and secure electoral process, the government has established a joint election cell to coordinate among multiple agencies. More than 11,000 security personnel, including police, armed police force, and army, will be deployed across the district under a 3-tier security framework. The election is being viewed not only as the casting of ballots, but as a test of political accountability, security preparedness, and community coordination, factors that are expected to shape the overall conduct of the vote in Jhapa.
9 of the 10 election constituencies in Nepal's federal capital Kathmandu will be headed by women this time. Though political parties turn indifferent towards nominating women under first-past-the-post system, the Election Commission, under the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission, has appointed 9 women returning officers in Kathmandu. This report explains more. Amid much hue and cry over meager women candidates in the March 5 House of Representatives election, the Election Commission has handed the command of federal capital to women returning officers. The political parties turned cold shoulder in implementing the spirit of the Constitution while selecting candidates under first-past-the-post system by only nominating 11.34% women as candidates. 9 of the returning officers in federal capital Kathmandu, that has the highest number of 10 election constituencies, are women. The Commission, on the recommendation of Judicial Service Commission, has appointed the judges in all 77 districts as the chief returning officers for the March 5 election, while 88 second-class gazetted officers in judicial service have been given the responsibility of returning officer. In Kathmandu, Deputy Attorney General Santi Neopani is overseeing constituency number 2. Krishna Bhandari, Deputy Attorney in Patan, is heading Kathmandu 4, while Under Secretary Sarda Rizal from the Ministry of Law is in charge of Kathmandu 5, and Chapala Pokhrel is leading the election in Kathmandu 6. Likewise, Savita Sharma, Kathmandu 7, Samjana Khanal, Kathmandu 8, Menuka Ghimire, Kathmandu 9, Supreme Court Deputy Registrar Amrita Kumari Sharma is leading this time in Kathmandu 10, and Chamila Bhattrai is leading Kathmandu 3. The Election Commission's decision to entrust women with the majority of election management responsibilities is being viewed as a reflection of growing institutional confidence in women's leadership.
This practice is for empowering women officers and also developing their leadership, and it indicates that the other women are also in line of taking leadership. That's why other women officers and other ladies can also be encouraged to have challenging job. Slowly and gradually, the number of women participation, the number of women leadership is increasing in the candidacy also.
The chief returning officers and returning officers have already started their role from January 9 in designated offices. The women are excited to have been entrusted the job and say these are exciting moments when the country itself has its first women prime minister.
सरकारको नेतृत्व पनि महिलाले गरिरहनु भएको छ हैन नेपालको इतिहास रच्दै हुनुहुन्छ महिलाहरूले हैन महिलाहरू फियर हुन्छन् यिनीहरू फियरली काम गर्न सक्छन् कसैप्रति बायस हुँदैनन् हैन जसरी स्वच्छ निष्पक्ष निर्वाचन भयो भने हाम्रो देशको जनप्रतिनिधि राम्रो हुन्छ भनेर र त्यही स्वच्छताको लागि पनि महिलाहरूको नेतृत्वमा चाहिँ अहिले सायद हुन सक्छ जति हुन त हामीले अहिले निर्वाचन आयोगले न्याय सेवाको महिलाहरू जति हुनुहुन्छ त्यसमा केही पर्सेन्टेज अब हुन त पुरै सबै ठाउँमा त महिला मात्रै त हुनुहुन्न तर भ्यालीमा चाहिँ 3 जना पुरुष हुनुहुन्छ त्योदेखि बाहेक सबैजना महिला हुनुहुन्छ त्यो नाताले पनि के गरियो भनेदेखि महिलाले फेयरली काम गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ काठमाडौँ भनेको त भिडभाड अलि राम्रो नराम्रो दुवै पक्षले अगाडि भएको ठाउँ हो यसमा चाहिँ महिलाहरू सक्षम भएर निस्किन्छन् भनेर नै सायद गरिएको होला भन्ने.
The move also resonates with the demands raised by the Gen Z movement, which has consistently called for inclusive participation, shared ownership and accountability across state institutions. As the March 5 polls approach, the women-led election management in Kathmandu sends a strong message. Women are not only capable of safeguarding democracy, but are increasingly shaping it. Nepal is facing a growing exodus of medical professionals as poor licensing exam outcomes. Low pay and limited career prospects push to seek opportunities abroad. New data from the Nepal Medical Council show a sharp rise in foreign certification requests, with more than 2,600 doctors obtaining good standing certificates in the last fiscal year alone. Health experts warn the trend could strain Nepal's already fragile public health care system. Here's the report. Brain drain has found a new form in Nepal, with medical personnel, especially doctors and nurses, flying abroad for employment. Fresh data released by Nepal Medical Council (NMC) indicates a sharp rise in the outmigration of Nepali medical professionals, particularly doctors and nurses. Experts say disappointing licensing examination results and long-standing workplace challenges continue to pose health workers. The concern follows the publication of results from the 74th NMC licensing examination, where only 39.45% of candidates passed the computer-based test for MBBS and BDS registration. Of the 943 candidates who took the examination, just 372 succeeded. The MBBS stream recorded a pass rate of 38.7%, while 42.85% of dental candidates cleared the exam.
यहाँभन्दा बढी सेवा सुविधा र यहाँभन्दा बढी सामाजिक सुरक्षा पाइसकेपछि चिकित्सक मात्रै होइन सबै चाहिँ भन्नाले त्यसैको बना खोजीमा बाहिर जान्छ. त्यसै क्रममा चिकित्सकहरू पनि गइरहनु भएको छ. तर त्यसमा जो भर्खर ग्रेजुएट हुनुभएको हुन्छ, ग्रेजुएट भएको लगभग 5-7 वर्षमा म्याक्सिमम चाहिँ भन्नाले विदेश जाने, विदेश पलायन हुने वा चाहिँ भन्नाले माइग्रेसन हुने सम्भावना चाहिँ बढी छ।
But the overall results have nonetheless intensified debate over the quality of medical education and the future prospects of young health professionals in Nepal. Alongside licensing challenges, Nepal Medical Council data on the issuance of certificates of good standing, a mandatory document for foreign employment, higher education, or professional training, clearly shows a steady increase in the migration of medical professionals. Over the past 6 fiscal years, the number of certificates issued has more than doubled, rising from 1,087 in 2020 to a record of 2,681 in 2025. Council officials estimate that more than 70% of certificate holders eventually move abroad on a long-term basis.
People who are graduated in medicine or nursing or even the health professionals, they have very little opportunity to provide services in the country. That's why to source the opportunity, this is a very usual thing to look for the further development of their own career, for the further study and to get the job international also. That's why the service is required very much in Nepal. The people are not getting service. The production of the human resources are almost enough to provide the services. So the government sectors, non-government sectors and other sectors also, they have to create the post to provide services.
According to the NMC records, the United Kingdom remains the leading destination for Nepali doctors, while more than 500 certificates issued for the UK in recent years. The United States has also seen a sharp surge, peaking at 843 certificates in 2023. Health sector officials say the trend reflects deep-rooted dissatisfaction within the domestic healthcare system. Young doctors echo similar concerns, citing low pay, delayed salaries, and lack of workplace security.
हामीले रात दिन अहोरात्र खटेर हामीले बिरामीको सेवाहरू गर्छौं। अब त्यही अनुसारको हामीलाई प्रोत्साहन स्वरूप दिएको पारिश्रमिकहरूले चाहिँ हाम्रो जीविकोपार्जन नै गर्दैन। अब फीकै कुरा गर्ने हो भने एमबीबीएस मा 40 देखि 45 लाख खर्च गरेर हामी पढ्न आउँछौं। अब 5.5 वर्ष खर्च हाम्रो लाइफको खर्च गरिसकेपछि हामीलाई दिने पारिश्रमिक भनेको अब केउकै कुरा गर्ने हो भने 10 देखि 12 हजार छ। अब त्यो स्यालेरीले हाम्रो जीवनको जीविकोपार्जन नै गर्न सक्दैन। अब उमेर अनुसार आउने हाम्रो पारिवारिक जिम्मेवारी पनि हुन्छ। अब त्यस कारणले गर्दा कस्तो अवस्था आइसकेको छ भने चाहिँ हाम्रो मानसिक स्वास्थ्यमै असर पर्छ कि जस्तो पनि कुरा आइसकेको अवस्था चाहिँ त्यस्तो छ।
The continued outflow of trained doctors and nurses poses serious long-term risk to Nepal's public health system, particularly in public hospitals and rural areas. That's the perspective for this week. We will be back next week with major highlights of the week. Thank you for watching NTV World.
A city known for its legacy, Kirtipur. Locals also call it Kipu in their own dialect. It is the largest ancient settlement after Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. The city still has an impressive Malla-era neighborhood. It is also home to Taudaha, the largest lake in the Kathmandu Valley. There are temples, monasteries, bihars, and stupas for both Hindu and Buddhist devotees. along with countless festivals and ritual celebrations that altogether give Kirtipur its distinct and special character. With its ancient Newar settlements, this place is a beautiful convergence of Newar culture and heritage. The 2nd century settlements here, the temples and the stupas, along with the legends and the faiths surrounding them, are fascinating. Situated beside the Kathmandu Valley, which once was a natural lake itself, Kirtipur developed as a flourishing hub of early settlement and culture. Because of this, the area is exceptionally valuable for historical and cultural study. A long time ago, the children of Kirtipur's farming families apparently made a clay tiger to play with while herding sheep and goats. To make that tiger look even more lifelike, they wanted to add a tongue. So they left their sheep and goats nearby and went into the forest to gather leaves for it. Upon returning, the children found their sheep and goats missing. And when they investigated, the clay tiger opened its blood-red mouth and claimed to have eaten the animals. Apparently, what had happened was that the deity Bhairav, a Hindu deity, had entered the clay tiger. In their anger, the children then cursed the clay tiger so that its mouth would remain perpetually open. This is the famous legend behind the Bagh Bhairav temple as remembered by the residents of Kirtipur. Bagh Bhairav is the revered deity of Kirtipur's residents. Situated in Kirtipur, this temple is accompanied by several smaller temples, many of which can be traced back to the 2nd century according to the historical records. Among them are temples dedicated to Yamaleshwar, Narayan, Bhavani Shankar, Ramchandra, Manavinayak, Vishwakarma, Sridhar Vishnu and Mool Ganesh, all of which were constructed in the 2nd century as per many inscriptions. The historical records mention that the Bagh Bhairav temple, originally made by Shivadev, was again renovated in the 16th century by Jagatpal Varma into a 3-tiered pagoda style. This makes the temple a central attraction of Kirtipur. Most Newar settlements, which are one of Nepal's ethnic groups, are adorned with temples and stupas. So Kirtipur is home to countless temples and stupas as well, too many to count by hand. The Uma Maheshwar temple here is located at the highest point in Kirtipur. From here, one can take in panoramic views of the entire Kathmandu Valley. Swayambhu, an ancient Buddhist stupa, is clearly visible from this vantage point. It is said that the temple's elevation is roughly the same as that of Swayambhu's. On clear days, the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, can also be seen from here. Uma Maheshwar, representing the Hindu deities of Shiva and Parvati in another form, is considered a symbol of family happiness and love. The temple's tiered roofs, its design, the surrounding houses, and the views are not only beautiful but also reflect its historical significance. It is an excellent place to explore and spend an entire day. Kirtipur is special not only for Hindu devotees but also for Buddhists. Its stupas and bihars are ideal for the study, research, and promotion of Buddhism. The Chilanchu Stupa, located atop the hill, is said by historians to have been built during Emperor Ashok's visit to Nepal. Its renovation, however, took place in the 16th century during the time of Jagatpal Varma. This site is ideal for prayer and meditation. It feels like Chilanchu spreads wisdom along with its fluttering flags under the open sky. It is said that seeing the hills surrounding the Chilanchu Stupa, Prithvi Narayan Shaha, the 18th century king who unified Nepal, coveted Kirtipur. His attempts to capture Kirtipur, intended to make conquering Kathmandu, Bhaktapur and Patan easier, only succeeded on the third try. Facing south is Ratnasambhav, mounted on a horse and showing the Varad Mudra, which is a gesture of generosity and granting boons. Facing north is Amitabh, seated on a peacock in the meditation mudra, symbolizing infinite light and compassion. Facing west is Amogha, seated on a Garud with the Nag hood in Abhay Mudra, a gesture of fearlessness and protection. At the center sits Vairochan, mounted on a lion and invisible, imparting profound knowledge of Buddhism. The presence of these 5 Buddhas is believed to guide those who have lost their way, whether it is in spiritual seeking or in travel. The stupas, vajras, and stone statues here are enchanting, capable of captivating visitors for hours. In Panga of Kirtipur, there is a cremation site. The deceased of the Panga community are cremated here, but this place is different from others. According to local tradition, one cannot stay behind after setting the body on fire. Normally, in other places in Hindu tradition, after the cremation, the ashes are collected after a process that can take up to hours. Here, however, bodies are covered with 9 pieces of wood for adults and 7 for children, along with water-soaked straw. Then the fire is lit before it is time to leave the site. This tradition is only for the people of Panga. Next to the burial ground stands the Vishnu Devi temple, one of the several Shakti Peeth or sacred power sites of the people of Kirtipur. This stupa houses the Pancha Buddha, the depiction of 5 knowledge of Buddha. Facing east is Akshobhya, mounted on an elephant and with earth-touching gestures. The area is peaceful and known for its spiritual atmosphere. Kirtipur is not only famous for its monasteries and chaityas, it is also rich in history and culture. This place is known for its year-round festivals, rituals, and vibrant cultural way of life. Among the important festivals are the Satgaunle Jatra, Gai Jatra, Bagh Bhairav Jatra, and Indrayani Jatra. On the day of Gai Jatra, a special dance is performed here. The Dhyo Dhyo Papa dance, also called Katmar, is a ceremonial performance where dancers in unique costumes move to traditional music. It is an integral part of Kirtipur's cultural identity. Here, visitors can also find various hotels, homestays, and Newari restaurants. The Newari-style houses and pathways decorated with traditional materials are truly captivating, and the popular Newari restaurants, which draw people from all around, are plentiful. A beautiful example of Newari culture is Newari food, which include famous dishes like bara, yomari, and samay bhaji. And visitors relish these dishes with great enjoyment. Just before entering Kirtipur, you arrive at another beautiful spot, Taudaha. Known for its environmental, cultural, and religious significance, this pond stretches about 500 meters in length and 400 meters in width. It is said to be shaped like a funnel. Believed to be dwelling place of Karkotak Nag, a serpent king in Hindu-Buddhist mythology, this lake is closely linked to the legends of Manjushri, a Hindu-Buddhist mythological figure, and the Rato Machindranath Jatra, one of Nepal's oldest chariot festivals. According to the folklore, when the Kathmandu Valley was still a lake, Manjushri cut open the hills to draw the water. The serpents living there were left without a home, so Bhimsen, a powerful heroic figure in Nepali folklore, created Taudaha to shelter them. The famous photo or vest displayed during the Rato Machindranath Jatra also traces its origins to Karkotak Nagraj and Taudaha. Legend says the vest belonged to Karkotak Nagraj, who gifted it to a farmer after the farmer cured his sick serpent queen. When the farmer later lost the vest, the dispute over who truly owned it became the story behind the festival where the vest is displayed. Taudaha is rich not only in religious and cultural significance but also in biodiversity. The area is home to 38 species of plants, 36 species of insects, and 116 types of birds. Swans gliding across the lake, birds perched in nearby trees, colorful fish swimming below, and small snakes seen occasionally along the banks. All of it make it easy to lose track of time while observing this vibrant ecosystem. In winter, birds migrate here from Siberia, Mongolia, and Tibet to escape the cold. Species such as lahare, kalihas, khoya, malak, and birds like great cormorant and Indian pond heron are also found here at Taudaha. These migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers from various countries to reach this lake. As a wetland area, Taudaha hosts water, land, vegetation, aquatic animals, amphibians, and other wildlife all in one place. For this reason, the lake attracts everyone from casual tourists to students conducting research. As tourist numbers increase, so have vendors selling fish feed around Taudaha. These traders who stay around the lake from morning to evening occasionally also encounter snakes. But believing the snakes to represent Karkotak Nagraj, the traders drive them away by just burning incense. Just before reaching Taudaha, Jobar is a unique tourist spot in Kirtipur. Manjushri Park here is one of the popular picnic destinations. The cave, Chobar Gorge, Suspension Bridge, Jalvinayak Temple and Adinath Lokeshwar Temple are all must-visit sites. This gorge is said to be where Manjushri cut the hills to drain water from the Kathmandu Valley, making it suitable for human settlement. Therefore, this place holds historical and mythological significance. Jalvinayak Temple is located along the Bagmati River. Among Kathmandu Valley's 4 main Ganesh temples, Surya Vinayak, Chandra Vinayak and Ashok Vinayak, Jalvinayak is one of them. It is built in traditional pagoda style. Toran or archways, tudal or roof struts, and gajur or pinnacles enhance its architectural beauty. So this temple is significant both for religious faith and for historical and architectural value. Spread over 14.76 square kilometers, Kirtipur has many places to explore, which cannot be fully visited in a single day. Its heritage, lifestyle, and festivals are all unique. To guide tourists before visiting, a tourist information and service center has been established. It lies near the Kirtipur's entry point. This center provides information about major tourist attractions and helps make the visit easier. Exploring Kirtipur's historical, religious, cultural, and natural sites is incredibly enchanting. These sites are witnesses to history. For research and study, visiting Kirtipur is essential. The local lifestyle, daily life, the breeze, and the scent of the soil here, all of it are very special. In modern times, as ancient civilizations threaten to vanish, Kirtipur strives to maintain its ancient identity. Its monasteries, temples, chaityas, ponds, markets, and even the language reflect this heritage. Kirtipur is not just a tourist destination. It offers experiences of meditation and knowledge, and of peace and beauty. Its stories and hospitality attract everyone. To witness and feel the unique confluence of history, culture, and nature, visiting Kirtipur is a must, not just once, but again and again.
स्वागत छ लुक्लामा तपाईहरुलाई राम्रोसँग आउनुभयो के प्लेनमा डरहरु लाग्नु भएन प्लेन भित्तैमा ठोकेला जस्तो हुन्छ यहाँ त
At an altitude of 2,860 meters, Lukla is the starting point of arguably one of the best trekking routes in the world, up to the Mount Everest base camp, finishing above 5,400 meters.
मेरो नाम राम कुलुङ हो म ट्रेकिङ गर्छु खैरहरूको बारी बोक्छु
Ram is one of hundreds of seasonal porters in the route.
ल दाइ गएको ल गएको है ल अब यो त मान्छेलाई पनि यस्तो सजिलो त सर यो किनभने हिलो हुँदैन बेस क्याम्प जाँदा अब क्याम्पको 1000 रुपैयाँ हुन्छ डबल बारी बोकेर 2-3 क्याम्प जति हिँडिन्छ त्यतिखेर चाहिँ 5000 जति बस्छ
The route is popular, in fact crowded. This is only for the 2 months of April and May, and so is the profession of Ram a seasonal affair.
अब कुनै खेर पाइन्छ कुनै खेर पाइँदैन मान्छे यतिकै हुन्छ र अब कुनै खेर त अब 4-5 दिन यतिकै बसेकै बजारतिर आयो घुम्यो यतिकै फेरि कोठामा फर्केर आयो अब बाकी खाना खाँदै बस्यो यस्तै हो सर विदेश जाउँ त अब लाग्छ जानुलाई पनि फेरि अलिक गाह्रै छ पैसा चाहिन्छ अब पैसा छैन त्यो पेसामा पढाइ चाहिँ पुरुषहरू नै हुन्छ महिलाहरू पनि आधी उधी हुन्छ सर बिहानदेखि कहिले अब घाम लागिरहन्छ एकछिनमा यस्तो बादल आइहाल्छ डुममा भइहाल्छ यहाँको मौसम यस्तै हो सर परेको भए त बाँकी अब सानोतिनो जबहरू हुन्थ्यो कि
Trekkers pass through nearly 6-7 small hamlets along the Lukla-Namche section of the route.
यहाँ सबै घरमा बिजुली पानीको राम्रो व्यवस्था छ सर
The locals do not have infrastructures or might have resected roads, but they have embraced development.
नाम चाहिँ लुक्ला सबै बाटोभरि नै फोहोर राख्ने बाटो राखिदिनु भएको छ
The topography is inhospitable, but the people are friendly.
यहाँ हरेक गाउँको आफ्नो आफ्नै हाइड्रो बिजुली निकाल्ने पावर छ
Solar panels give much needed warm water to survive the cold. No wonder everything comes at a cost here, charging a cell phone or getting a Wi-Fi connection.
पहिला साह्रै दुःख पाइयो मम्मी सानैमा बित्यो अनि पढ्नै पाएन यस्तो दुःख गर्नु परेछ अब छोराछोरीलाई चाहिँ अब यस्तो दुःख गरेर भए पनि पढाउँछु अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्ने भए त अब कति अब खैराहरू भेट्छन् हिजो पनि 4 जना भेटेको थियो फाल्टो ग्रुप अब अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्न जानिदैन त्यही भएर पठाइदियो ल अब यहाँ चाहिँ खाना खाने ठाउँ हो यहाँ खाना खानु पर्यो
हजुर सबभन्दा धेरै थुक्प नै हो किनभने अरू खाजा पनि जान्छ नि त जानु त बनाएर जान्छ तर त्यो सकिहाल्दैन भने फेरि त्यो बिग्रिन्छ के अमिलो
Food is no more cooked in firewood like in the past, despite LP gas cylinders arriving either on humans' back or the beast of burdens. Our first day trek concludes at Phakding, a small hamlet at an altitude of 2,610 meters. Almost all trekkers lodge here on the first day to acclimatize themselves for higher elevations. The place has amenities for travelers at par with an urban town, except roads and infrastructures.
यहाँ यो फलामको चिप्नी नभएको त गरै हुँदैन सर यहाँ त फलामको चिप्नी गएन भने त जाडोले मर्ने हुन्छ
As the dawn breaks, Ram emerges from his overnight elopement for lodging.
सपनामा त खै कस्तो अचम्मक सपना देख्यो सपनामा चाहिँ बुढी चाहिँ अर्कैसँग गएको देखेकै छ खै के कुरामा चाहिँ डिस्केस भएको जस्तो भयो अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ कपडा सपडा प्याक गरेर हिँडेको सपना देख्यो के गर्न सकिएन खै कहिले के गर्ने हो मान्छे बुढी राम्रो छ सपना चाहिँ त्यस्तो देख्यो कस्तो अचम्म लाग्यो बुढी फेरि मभन्दा ठुलो छ कि मभन्दा त राम्रै पनि छ ठुलो पनि छ त्यस्तो सपना देख्दा चाहिँ कुनै खेर चाहिँ अब डर पनि लाग्छ के बा पछि अब छोडेर हिँडिदिने हो कि अब आफूसँग केही नभएपछि त होइन बा अब हिँडिदिने हो कि जस्तो पनि लाग्छ यो सागो हो यो सागो चाहिँ काठको बनाएको यो बर्खामा ठुलो पानी आउँछ ठुलो खोला हुँदाखेरि त बगाएर लगिहाल्छ फेरि बनाउँछ यो चाहिँ पारी घाँस दाउराको लागि बनाउँछ
The Kumbh region has more than a dozen suspension and concrete bridges to safely cross the Dudh Kosi, meaning Milk White Kosi and its tributaries. As we continue our steep climb towards Namche Bazaar, we pass through freshly felled pine trees.
यो चाहिँ घरको लागि काठ काटेको हो
Nepal deploys over 300,000 security personnel to ensure free, fair and safe House of Representatives elections. Nepal health insurance faces financial crisis. Prime Minister Karki calls for single stream system and stricter regulation. Nepal sees rising cancer cases amid lifestyle environmental risks. Experts urge early detection, prevention and people-centered care. Nepal cases human cost of migration as daily worker deaths reveal weak health and safety oversight abroad. Russia and Ukraine delegations arrive in Abu Dhabi for talks amid renewed energy attacks. And host Nepal eliminated from SAF Under-19 Women's Championship, Bangladesh through to the final. Good evening, I am Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Nepal is gearing up for its House of Representatives elections on March 5 with comprehensive security measures in place. Under the Integrated Election Security Plan, over 303,000 personnel have been deployed, including Nepal Army, Nepal Police, Armed Police Force, Election Police and National Investigation Department. Election Police manage polling station security, the Armed Police Force oversees secondary protection and Nepal Army safeguards the outermost perimeter across 165 constituencies. Duties range from ballot printing and transport, polling station and vote counting center security to securing airports, prisons and other critical facilities. Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has emphasized the government's commitment to peace and safety. ensuring 18.9 million registered voters can cast their ballots freely, including 9.66 million men and 9.24 million women. The government-run health insurance program is facing a financial crisis, prompting Prime Minister Sushila Karki to hold discussions with relevant authorities at the Prime Minister's office in Singhadarbar. The Prime Minister said the program should be operated through a single-stream system to prevent misuse and improve efficiency. She also stressed the need for strict regulation and stronger laws to address the challenges in the existing health insurance system. Health Minister Dr. Sudha Gautam warned that budget constraints have left the program at risk, with some government hospitals potentially facing closure if funding is not released. According to Health Insurance Board, over 10 billion Nepali rupees remain unpaid to registered healthcare institutions nationwide. Cancer is no longer always a killer if detected early, say medical experts in Nepal. Lung cancer remains the most common, followed by breast, ovarian, gastrointestinal and cervical cancers, with late diagnosis worsening outcomes. Doctors stress early detection, lifestyle changes and timely medical intervention can make many cancers curable, though advanced stages remain challenging. More on this in our issue of the day later today. Now, daily deaths of Nepali migrant workers highlight human cost despite rising remittances and economic contribution. While remittances from Nepali workers abroad continue to boost the country's economy, a tragic human cost persists. At Trivandrum International Airport, 2 to 8 migrant workers' bodies arrive daily, many dying from heart attacks, workplace accidents or mental stress. Last fiscal year alone, 1,500 young Nepalese died abroad. This year, 785 have returned in just 6 months. More on this in our cover story. Now, efforts to end the 4-year-long war between Russia and Ukraine are set to resume with talks in Abu Dhabi, scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday. Delegations from both the countries have already arrived, with Ukraine's team led by Security Council Chief Rustam Umerov and Russia represented by military intelligence head Igor Kostyukov, a sanctioned figure in the West. The war, which began in February 2022, is considered the deadliest conflict in Europe since Second World War. Previous diplomatic attempts have yet to yield a lasting resolution. The talks face added pressure after Russia launched a major drone and missile strike on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, cutting electricity and heating in sub-zero temperatures and threatening to overshadow negotiations. Last month, the previous Abu Dhabi round included U.S. participation led by President Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff. Host Nepal has been eliminated from SAF Under-19 Women's Championship, currently underway in Pokhara, Western Nepal. In their final group stage match, Nepal suffered a 4-0 defeat against Bangladesh at the Pokhara International Football Stadium. The loss proved decisive. With this result, Nepal exits the tournament at the group stage. Bangladesh, playing as the visiting team, delivered a dominant performance and finished as group winners, securing a place in the final. The team will now face India in the championship match scheduled for Friday. Earlier, India confirmed their spot in the final after recording an 8-0 victory over Bhutan. Nepal concludes the group stage with 3 points from 2 matches, finishing third in the group. SAF Under-19 Women's Championship is a regional tournament designed to promote and develop young women footballers across South Asia. Cancer has been the leading cause of death, with nearly 10 million deaths annually. And that number is projected to increase dramatically by 2050 without stronger screening, prevention and patient-focused treatment. Nepal is also experiencing a rise in cancer cases attributed to various factors. A special look on it in our issue of the day after this short break. Stay with us. watching NTV World and this is News Hour. Welcome back. Time now for issue of the day. Nepal is witnessing a steady rise in cancer cases driven by lifestyle changes, environmental risks and late detection. Health experts stress that many cancers are curable if diagnosed early, yet high treatment costs, weak insurance coverage and limited awareness continue to limit timely care. With stronger screening, prevention and people-centered treatment, more cancer diagnoses could be turned into survival stories. Here's a report by Sabika Shrestha.
Unhealthy diet, lifestyle, tobacco and alcohol consumption are leading causes of cancer globally, but environmental pollution is alarmingly coming up as another fast-growing cause of late. Breaking it down to Nepal, lung cancer remains the most prevalent infection in Nepal, followed by breast, ovarian, gastrointestinal and oral cancers. Among women, cervical cancer ranks third, though doctors note a sharp rise in breast cancer cases in recent years, largely linked to lifestyle changes, delayed childbirth, stress, and reduced physical activity. Despite these trends, medical professionals stress that cancer is not always a death sentence. Stage 0 is 100% preventive, but patients only seek help after they reach third stage. Late diagnosis and limited access to regular screening continue to worsen outcomes, making cancer a major public health challenge in the country.
There used to be a time when they used to say that cancer has no answer. But with the time and advancement in the medical sciences, now cancer has multiple answers. And you can see like many patients in our setup, even in Nepal, we can treat so many patients and they are also curable. But the curable of the disease depends upon the stage. If the patient are diagnosed in the early stage, the disease is curable. But if they are diagnosed in a late stage, very advanced stage, in that case, it is not curable, but it is controllable.
Many cases of cancer, including cervical, breast, thyroid, testicular and certain leukemias are highly treatable and even curable when detected early. Doctors caution that 100% cancer treatment coverage is not realistically possible under the current health system, while weak insurance policies and low public awareness further limit access to timely care. Though the treatment cost in Nepal compared globally is affordable compared to other treatments within the country, it is still very expensive as well as extensive. As prevention, government has launched measures including HPV vaccination drive and community-level awareness programs and screening campaigns. Experts also highlight the role of prevention alongside treatment. When it comes to diseases like cancer, early detection is very important as medical intervention at initial stage drastically improves survival rates.
We get the patient from all over Nepal and all kind of cancers, and we have developed our capabilities in diagnosing the cancers, and we are trying to incorporate the newer modalities of investigation and treatment into our hospital system. In the context of World Cancer Day today, we try to celebrate it as an opportunity to discuss about the cancer control strategies, policies, and the way to move forward and how to develop the present scenario in the cancer control.
Psychological resilience and emotional support are known to strengthen immunity, improve treatment response, and enhance quality of life for cancer patients, an often overlooked aspect of care in Nepal. As the world marks World Cancer Day 2026 under the theme United by Unique, Nepal's health community echoes the global call for people-centered, equitable, and effective cancer care. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Cancer is the most common cause of death globally, with nearly 10 million deaths annually. More alarming are the predictions, suggesting 77% increase in these numbers by 2050, taking the figures to more than 35 million cases every year. On this World Cancer Day, Subeksha Rajak looks into the alarming figures and predictions.
Every year, nearly 20 million new cases of cancer are recorded around the world, according to World Health Organization and International Agency for Research and Cancer. Nearly 9.7 million cancer-related deaths are recorded annually. Experts warn of a cancer surge projecting scary 77% increase in these figures by 2050. This rise is largely fueled by an aging global population and increased exposure to environmental risk factors. Cancer is caused when normal cells in human body go wrong. They stop following the body's rules for growth, multiplying uncontrollably to form tumors or crowding out healthy cells, which prevent the body from functioning correctly. While there are over 100 types of cancer, 5 bear the heaviest global burden. Lung cancer is the leading cause of death with 2.4 million new cases yearly. Breast cancer stands second, affecting 2.3 million people. Colorectal cancer impacts 1.9 million, and prostate and stomach cancer account for over 2.4 million cases. Gender distribution remains relatively even, though cancer cases are slightly higher in men at 52 to 53% due to higher risk of lung and prostate cancers. Women represent 47 to 48% of cases, disproportionately affected by breast and cervical cancers. Age remains the most significant risk factor. Seniors of age 65 plus, this is the most affected group, accounting for 55 to 60% of all cases. Middle-aged from 50 to 64, representing 25 to 30%, this is a critical transition period where screenings like mammograms and colonoscopies become vital. Young adults of age 20 to 49 make up 10% to 15% of the global cancer cases, driven by breast and colorectal cancers. Children of 0 to 19 years amount to only 1% to 2%. Childhood cancers like leukemia and brain tumors remain devastating. WHO estimates that 30 to 50% of cancers are preventable through simple, healthy lifestyle choices. Many of others are highly curable if detected early. To protect yourself and your family, quit smoking. Tobacco is the single greatest preventable cause of cancer. Eat well and stay active. A balanced diet and physical activity significantly lower risk. Limit alcohol. Excessive consumption is linked to multiple cancer types. Vaccination. Shots for HPV and hepatitis B can prevent cervical and liver cancers. Be sun safe. Avoid excessive UV radiation to protect your skin. On this World Cancer Day, remember, access to screening and care is not a privilege. It is a fundamental right. Your awareness could be the first step in saving yourself from cancer.
And in this context today, in our Public Pulse segment, we spoke with Professor Dr. R.P. Baral, Senior Consultant, Clinical Oncologist. Let's have a look.
Our body is made of small cells. That cells proliferate. With due cause, what is the cause? Forget it right now. With due cause, if there is abnormal proliferation of cell, from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 100, 1000, crore, whatsoever, if that cells continuously proliferates without any control, that is known as cancer. It has no age bar. I have seen patients, today they were born, child, today they got cancer. 105 years old man or old female get cancer. No female male discrimination. Anybody of the world, anytime, may get cancer. It is a curable disease. As an oncologist, we take cancer treatment as a treatment of chronic disease like diabetes, like blood pressure, like thyroid. These are chronic diseases. So we consider cancer as a chronic disease, not a fatal disease. In Nepal's context, or even in SAARC countries' context, today, number one cancer is lung cancer. Either you combine male and female. And second cancer, like GI cancer, like oral cavity, breast cancers, ovary cancer are emerging. It also depends from place to place and countries to countries. But in female, most important, 3-4 years back, cervical cancer, cervix cancer, not uterus cancer. Cervix cancer was number one leading cancer in female. Now, due to lifestyle, and due to different causes, now breast cancer is approved as a number one cancer in India, in Nepal, in many countries. Those substances which we take are known as carcinogenic substances. So using these types of carcinogenic substances, then we are in high risk of developing cancer. More than 90% cancers are affected by this. For example, first cause is tobacco. Second is alcohol. And third is we eat artificial food, like junk food, like the food which are consumed in fridge, in departmental store. So these are tasty. Some chemicals are there, so it makes tasty. But taste is by chemical, and that chemical is carcinogenic. And another is high salt. Now people should aware that high salt also causes intestine or lower intestine, upper intestine, stomach, rectal cancer. In many cancer, there is role of surgery. In many cancer, more than 70% of the cancer needs radiation therapy, and majority of the patient needs chemotherapy. So radiation and surgery is a local treatment. You operate here where there is cancer. Radiation, you give radiation where there is cancer. Chemotherapy is a systemic treatment. It goes to the blood, circulates throughout the blood. We take height, weight of the patient, different chemicals are mixed 2 weekly or 3 weekly, so it will destroy the cancer cells, and also it will destroy, stop it by growing to other place, because cancer spreads from one part of the body to another part of the body. Children, they don't smoke, they don't have bad habit, they are more affected to cancer. These children cancers are mainly hereditary, or maybe some genetic changes, like blood cancer, lymphoma are highly emerging. And for your kind information, pediatric cancer, children cancer is highly curable rather than to compare to the adults.
That was our issue of the day. Remittances from Nepali migrant workers continue to support the country's economy, but they come at a growing human and social cost, as many workers die abroad due to health issues, unsafe working conditions and mental stress. I'll cover the story right after this short breather. Welcome back to News Hour here on NTV World. Time now for cover story of the day. While remittances from Nepali migrant workers continue to bolster the country's economy, a growing human cost is also emerging. At Trivun International Airport, the bodies of 2 to 8 Nepali workers arrive daily, many of whom died abroad due to heart attacks, workplace accidents, suicide or mental health pressures. On Wednesday alone, the bodies of 2 young men from Makwanpur and Siraha returned from Malaysia and Qatar. Last fiscal year, 1,500 bodies arrived in Nepal, and in the first 6 months of the ongoing year, 785 have already returned. Experts call for stricter pre-departure health checks, mental health support and assistance for workers abroad, while Foreign Employment Board primarily provides financial aid to families of deceased workers. With over 600,000 young Nepalis leaving for foreign jobs in just the first half of the year, the economic benefits are clear, but so is the urgent need to reduce human losses and protect migrant workers. Tens of thousands of Nepalis are leaving the country each month in search of work. As labour migration accelerates, women in rural villages are being left to shoulder the responsibility of households, communities and local development. Vijeta Bhandari, along with Himal Neopani, brings the story from Syangja.
Nepal continues to witness a steady rise in labour migration as employment opportunities within the country remain limited. According to the Department of Foreign Employment, between mid-December 2025 and mid-January 2026 alone, 55,541 men and 7,018 women received labour permit approvals under unskilled, skilled, professional and highly skilled categories. This growing out-migration has not only emptied villages of youth, but has also significantly increased the social and economic burden on women. From farming and family management to development work and social leadership, women in the hinterlands of Nepal have no choice but to roll up their own sleeves. A clear example of this changing reality can be seen in Tallo Satigar village of Waling 6 in Syangja district. Daily household chores, agricultural work, community development, and social administration are now largely handled by women. Despite the common belief that women's participation in social, economic, and political sectors is limited, Tallo Satigar has shown that a village can function and move forward through women's leadership alone. With a situation resembling one house, one abroad, the village is now home mainly to women and elderly residents, leaving women to address every challenge that arises.
श्रीमान नहुँदा घर परिवार चलाउन त एकदम गाह्रो हुन्छ किनकि अब भैँसी पुग्दा पनि बानी मान्छे पनि हुनुहुन्न अब त्यस्तै हो व्यवहार पनि चलाउनु पर्यो.
From working in the fields with children on their backs to managing households and extended families, women shoulder all of the responsibilities.
अबको अवस्थामा मलामी पनि महिलाहरू जाने अवस्था भइरहेको छ किनकि बेरोजगारीको कारणले.
As women in villages like Tallo Satigar continue to carry the weight of the households, communities and development, their contribution remains largely unsupported by policy and resources. Unless sustainable employment opportunities are created within the country and women-led communities are backed with targeted programs, the unseen burden carried by women in these emptying villages will only continue to increase.
That was our cover story of the day. More from the national front. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paul has arrived home today after completing his official visit to Japan. Vice President Ram Sahaya Prasad Yadav, Prime Minister Sushila Karki, ministers and the chiefs of security bodies welcomed President Paul at the VVIP lounge of Trivandrum International Airport. A contingent of Nepal Army accorded a guard of honor to the head of the state. At the invitation of Japanese government, President Paul had led a Nepali delegation to attend a special ceremony organized on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of Nepal-Japan diplomatic relations on February 1st. The President addressed the special ceremony organized in Tokyo, Japan. He was also accompanied by his spouse, Samita Paul. During his stay, President Paul paid a courtesy call on Japanese Emperor Naruhito, while the Japanese Prime Minister and Minister of State for Foreign Minister paid courtesy call on President Paul separately. Likewise, President Paul addressed a program of the Japanese business persons and of Nepali diaspora in Tokyo. Even Nepali embassy in Japan was inspected by him. Nepal and Japan had established diplomatic ties on September 1st, 1956. Following the establishment of diplomatic relations, Nepal set up its embassy in Tokyo in 1965, while Japan's embassy in Kathmandu in 1967. The Communist Party of Nepal, UML, has put forward its chairperson, KP Sharma Oli, as the party's candidate for the next Prime Minister. During a press conference held today at the UML Central Office in Chassel, party's Vice Chair, Ram Bahadur Thapa, emphasized the need to restore national defense, patriotism and democratic forces in the country. He made it clear that the party is entering the elections with Chairperson Oli proposed as the prospective Prime Minister. Thapa also highlighted the importance of empowering nation builders, pointing out that Nepal's economy is growing and the country is progressing according to a unified development plan.
अहिले चाहिँ विभिन्न दलहरुसित कुन कुन निर्वाचन क्षेत्रमा हुन त अब सबै दलहरुले त्यहाँ उम्मेदवार मनोनयन गरिसकेका छन् तै पनि 21 गते भन्दा अगाडिसम्म ती सहकार्यको निम्ति चाहिँ सबै पक्षहरुबाट चाहिँ प्रयत्न चाहिँ जारी रहन्छ र अब अलि अन्तिम समयतिर चाहिँ ती ठाउँहरुमा चाहिँ एउटा सहकार्यको एउटा सहमति हुन सक्छ.
Nepal's Election Commission has signed an agreement with social media platform TikTok to curb the spread of misinformation during the upcoming House of Representatives elections on March 5. Authorities have raised concerns over false, misleading or inappropriate content circulating online, including potential violations of the Election Code of Conduct. Under the agreement, TikTok will assist Election Commission by preventing the dissemination of such content, providing tools and support free of charge during the election period. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandari said the move is part of a planned effort to prevent misuse of technology and maintain a transparent and credible electoral environment. He described the collaboration as a historic step to ensure that the digital space remains free from content that could disrupt the election process. Excessive use of pesticides in farms is not only one of the major causes of cancer in Nepal, but also destroying the natural pollinators and predators. Beekeeping farmers in Dhading of central Nepal are worried as use of chemical pesticides in nearby farms is killing honeybees. Rochina Rai with our local correspondent Shiva Silwal explain the impact.
Dhading is a key agricultural pocket area where country's most significant commercial farming activities are in practice. Nearly 90% of the district's population is engaged in agriculture. Beekeeping, though not at a very large scale, is slowly becoming a lucrative source of income for farmers in the district, with the local agriculture office estimating around 12,000 beehives in the district. Farmers raise bees using both traditional log hikes and modern hive systems. Due to its slow investment and relatively high returns, beekeeping has been widely adopted as a livelihood option in the district. However, beekeeping farmers are now facing a growing crisis. The uncontrolled use of chemical pesticides in commercial vegetable, fruit, and oilseed farming has led to the death and migration of honeybees. Over the past few years, farmers report a steady decline in bee populations. When bees forage for nectar and pollen, they come into contact with pesticide-contaminated flowers and die. In addition, changes in weather patterns and flowering seasons are making it increasingly difficult for bees to survive and produce honey. Farmers in the district once produced up to 2 tons of honey annually, but production has steadily decreased in recent days. Agriculturalists highlight reducing and regulating pesticide use in beekeeping areas is essential to protect pollinators and strengthen the sector. Rosina Rai with the local correspondent Shiva Silwal from Dhading reporting for NTV World.
International news coming up next. For now, a recap of the headlines. Nepal deploys over 300,000 security personnel to ensure free, fair and safe House of Representatives elections. Nepal health insurance faces financial crisis. Prime Minister Karki calls for single-stream system and stricter regulation. Nepal sees rising cancer cases amid lifestyle and environmental risks. Experts urge early detection, prevention and people-centered care. Nepal faces human cost of migration as daily worker deaths reveal weak health and safety oversight abroad. Russia and Ukraine delegations arrive in Abu Dhabi for talks amid renewed energy attacks. And host Nepal eliminated from South Under-19 Women's Championship, Bangladesh through to the final. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has praised Moscow's close ties with Beijing during a video call with Chinese President Xi Jinping, calling the partnership a stabilizing force amid global turbulence. Putin said cooperation between Russia and China in politics, economics and security remains critical at a time of heightened international tensions. Chinese state media echoed the sentiment, emphasizing strategic coordination between the two countries. The call comes as both nations face strained relations with Western governments, sanctions and growing geopolitical competition. Ambulances carrying injured Palestinians have crossed from Gaza into Egypt through the Rafah border for a second day. Only 50 patients per day are allowed to pass, each accompanied by 2 relatives under a limited reopening agreement supported by the United Nations. Aid groups say the move is critical but insufficient, warning that Gaza's healthcare system remains near collapse after 2 years of war. A Philippine congressional committee has rejected impeachment complaints filed against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., dealing a major blow to efforts to unseat the leader over alleged financial misconduct. The committee voted 42 in favor of dismissing the complaint, with 1 vote against and 3 abstentions. Lawmakers ruled the petition insufficient in substance, effectively halting the impeachment process at the committee level. The complaint accused Marcos of swindling taxpayers out of billions of dollars, allegations his allies strongly deny. Sri Lanka celebrated its 78th Independence Day today at Independence Square under the theme Building Sri Lanka. The event featured a guard of honor by 3,557 members of Tri-Forces alongside 400 members from the police and Special Task Force, as well as participants from the National Cadet Corps and the Civil Security Force, all taking part in the parade. The celebrations honor the sacrifices made to secure independence from British rule in 1948, while emphasizing the country's goal of rebuilding and strengthening Sri Lanka into a politically stable and economically resilient nation. Police deployed over 2,000 officers to ensure security and smooth traffic during the event. NASA has delayed the launch of its first crewed lunar flyby mission in more than 5 decades, pushing the timeline to March. The agency says the decision follows the discovery of leaks during final pre-launch testing. Engineers are now working to address the issue to ensure astronaut safety. The mission is a key step in NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon and eventually prepare for crewed missions to Mars. China's rare earths industry is back in focus as global demand intensifies for the critical minerals used in electric vehicles, wind turbines, and advanced defense systems. Footage from Ganzhou in Jiangxi province highlights China's dominance in rare earth mining and processing, where it controls most of the world's supply chain. In response, the U.S. is ramping up diplomatic efforts to secure alternative sources. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to host the inaugural Critical Minerals Ministerial in Washington, bringing together allies to reduce dependence on China and strengthen supply chain security. The space company founded by Jeff Bezos is advancing proposals to support future digital infrastructure in orbit, including space-based data centers powered by solar energy. Blue Origin says the concept is designed to help meet rapidly growing global demand for computing power driven by artificial intelligence and data-intensive technologies. The company argues that operating data centers in space could reduce strain on Earth-based energy grids by relying on continuous solar power. New footage shows Blue Origin's rocket manufacturing facility on Florida's Space Coast near NASA's Kennedy Center, where the company is expanding its launch and satellite capabilities. Blue Origin is also promoting its TerraWave satellite communications network, which it says would enable high-speed data transmission around the world, highlighting how space-based systems could play a larger role in future digital infrastructure. Business news coming up next. For now, short break.
US President Donald Trump has signed a government spending bill officially ending a 4-day partial shutdown that disrupted federal services nationwide. The shutdown followed a funding standoff in Congress, delaying pay for thousands of federal workers. The newly signed bill restores funding and keeps the government operating through the next budget deadline. Trump praised the agreement as a win for fiscal responsibility, while critics argue it merely postpones deeper budget battles ahead. The episode highlights ongoing tensions in Washington over spending priorities and government funding. Southeast Asia is on track to become the world's fastest growing aviation market. Speaking at the Singapore Air Show, Boeing Vice President of Commercial Marketing Darren Hulse said growth will be driven by a rapidly expanding middle class, rising incomes, and strong demographic trends across the region. He noted increasing demand for air travel in countries such as Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and the Philippines. Globally, the aviation industry continues its recovery following the pandemic, with passenger traffic now approaching or surpassing pre-2020 levels in many regions. Airlines are placing large aircraft orders to meet rising demand, despite ongoing challenges including aircraft shortages, supply chain disruptions, and higher operating costs. Industry forecasts suggest global passenger numbers could double over the next 2 decades, with Asia accounting for more than half of that growth, reshaping the future of air travel worldwide. The space company founded by Jeff Bezos is advancing proposals to support future digital infrastructure in orbit, including space-based data centers powered by solar energy. Blue Origin says the concept is designed to help meet rapidly growing global demand for computing power driven by artificial intelligence and data-intensive technologies. The company argues that operating data centers in space could reduce strain on Earth-based energy grids by relying on continuous solar power. New footage shows Blue Origin's rocket manufacturing facility on Florida's Space Coast near NASA's Kennedy Space Center, where the company is expanding its launch and satellite capabilities. Blue Origin is also promoting its TerraWave satellite communications network, which it says would enable high-speed data transmission around the world, highlighting how space-based systems could play a larger role in future digital infrastructure. In villages across India, a growing number of rural workers are contributing to the development of global artificial intelligence systems by performing essential data tasks such as labeling, annotation, and quality checks. They do farming during the day while log on at night to work as a data labeler. The work, while basic, plays a critical role in training machine learning models used by technology companies worldwide. Workers review photos, text, and audio, ensuring that data sets are accurately tagged so algorithms can learn to recognize patterns. The rise of remote digital work has opened new income opportunities in rural areas where employment options are often limited. Industry experts say India's large English-speaking population and expanding internet access have made the country a key hub for data annotation services, a segment of the AI supply chain that remains highly labor-intensive.
Time now for sports update. The Olympic flame continues its symbolic journey across Italy ahead of the Milan Cortina Winter Games. The torch was seen sailing across Lake Como, one of the country's most iconic locations, just days before the opening ceremony at Milan's San Siro Stadium. Organizers say the relay celebrates Italy's cultural landscapes and Olympic spirit. With less than 3 days to go, excitement is building as athletes and fans prepare for the return of the Winter Olympics to Italian soil. Time now for weather updates, first from across Nepal and then the world. Before we wrap up this bulletin, here's a look at the headlines this hour. Nepal deploys over 300,000 security personnel to ensure free, fair and safe House of Representatives election. Nepal health insurance faces financial crisis. Prime Minister Karki calls for single-stream system and stricter regulation. Nepal sees rising cancer cases amid lifestyle and environmental risks. Experts urge early detection, prevention and people-centered care. Nepal faces human cost of migration as daily worker deaths reveal weak health and safety oversight abroad. Russia and Ukraine delegations arrive in Abu Dhabi for talks amid renewed energy attacks. And host Nepal eliminated from SAF Under-19 Women's Championship, Bangladesh through to the final. That is all for the moment here on NTV World News Hour. Do join us through our social media pages and also get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for staying with us. Good night.